Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Hallelujah. Abba Yahweh, we told you for bringing us through another feast, a beautiful, delightful feast. Abba Yahweh, continue to be with us as we continue to follow your ways, continue to take great delight in your Shabbats and your feast days. And Abba Yahweh, continue to have us in the mindset to want to do your will and obey you, Abba Yahweh. Continue to have us in the mindset to want to follow in your son's footsteps. And Abba Yahweh, continue to be with us every step of the way as we walk this way of life. Keep that way that we walk lighted up for us, Abba Yahweh. Keep it so that we will stay in that straight and narrow path and not go to the right and to the left. Abba Yahweh, continue to lighten our path in such a way that we just take great delight and want to do your will and just want to please you in every way. And Abba Yahweh, continue to strengthen us throughout this way. Continue to give us all the tools that we need in order to endure to the very end. Abba Yahweh, continue to show us, each and every one of us, our different gifts. And have us to continue to work in those gifts and bring honor unto you and your son. And help one another out and have that great ahava for one another. And show you that we are that great nation we say we are. And Abba Yahweh, continue to show your people that they are a Kodesh people. That they are royal. That we must walk up right before you if we want that great reward that is promised to us at the very end. And Abba Yahweh, have us not in the mindset to want the things of this world, but to yearn for the things that you have promised us. And that Hashemayim. And Abba Yahweh, we look forward to that day when you bring your kingdom onto this earth. Get rid of all wickedness and evil on this earth. And to be able to relax forever. Be able to have shalom forever. And not worry anymore. And Abba Yahweh, continue to fight off all evil, wicked spirits. Continue to fight off all that serve to bring disruption to your assembly. Fight off all that try to bring disruptions to the live stream even. Abba Yahweh, have our houses in order. Have everything around us in so much of order that Shaitan may not be able to enter in, because we have that Ruach HaKodesh dwelling within our souls. And Abba Yahweh, continue to strengthen us with that Ruach HaKodesh and continue to abide with us forever and ever. Never leave us, Abba Yahweh, because we can do nothing without you. In Yahshua HaMashiach's name we pray. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. House of Israel, you may be seated. Shabbat Shalom, House of Israel. I say Shabbat Shalom, all that tuning in on the live stream. Today I want to read from the book of Tehillim. This is Psalms 33. Psalms 33 says, "Rejoice in Yahweh, O you righteous. For praise from the upright is beautiful. Praise Yahweh with the harp. Make melody to him with an instrument of 10 strings. Sing to him a new song. Play skillfully with a shout of joy. For the word of Yahweh is right, and all his work is done in truth. He loves righteousness and justice. The earth is full of the goodness of Yahweh. By the word of Yahweh, the Hashemims were made, and all the hosts in them by the breath of his mouth. He gathers the waters of the sea together as a heap. He lays up the deep in storehouses. Let all the earth fear Yahweh. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. For he spoke, and it was done. He commanded, and it stood fast. Yahweh brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the people of no effect. The counsel of Yahweh stands olam, forever. The plans of his heart to all generations. Baruch is a nation whose Elohim is Yahweh, the people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Yahweh looks from the Hashemayim. He sees all the sons of men. From the place of his dwelling, he looks on all the inhabitants of the earth. He fashions their hearts individually. He considers all their works. No king is saved by the multitude of an army. A mighty man is not delivered by great strength. A horse is a vain hope for safety, neither shall it deliver any by its great strength. Behold, the eye of Yahweh is on those who fear him, on those whose hope in his hased, his mercy, to deliver their soul from death and to keep them alive in famine. Our soul waits for Yahweh. He is our help and our shield. For our heart shall rejoice in him, because we have trusted in his Kodesh name. Hallelujah. Let your hased, O Yahweh, be upon us, just as we hope in you. Hallelujah. 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 See, he don't care about the strength you have or the wisdom you think you have. Yahweh cares about you obeying him. Hallelujah. That's what Yahweh wants. See, you don't care about, you see all these people in the world, they think they look good, they think they got all this strength and might, and Yahweh is pleased with all that. No, Yahweh pleased with you all that obey him and do his will. And then when you do that, you are a powerful people. You know that, Yisrael? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So continue, like I always say, continue to follow Yahweh, and he will not let you down. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. At this time, I'd like to turn the service over to Zarkane Dawid Yakinhan Sr. We want to receive him by giving Yahweh the highest form of praise by saying, Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I was up here. Going and I went looking for something. Realized it wasn't in my office. I had to run back in the men's study. Praise Yahweh. We do give Almighty Yah all the honor that is due unto his most precious name. We told Yah for the gift of life and the time frame in which we as his precious children are even alive. We told Yah for that. We're in a very precarious time. It almost resembles modern warfare. If you've ever seen those old war movies depicted around the time of World War I and II, you see the military men down in the foxholes and the bullets are flying and they can't even so much as lift up their head to peep to see where the enemy is. We are truly, my precious, we are truly in such a time frame. Whether we really believe it or not, that's almost irrelevant if the truth is to be told. It no longer matters whether people believe the word of Yahweh. I haven't seen a soul upon the face of this earth yet that's going to duck it. I haven't seen a single soul that's going to get away from it or come from under it or do anything against it according to their own might. So in that, our present circumstances and our knowledge of Yahweh teaches us to calm down. And if there were ever a time to really seek Yahweh, now is that time. It's difficult to really teach the children of Israel. I was in a situation this week. I met with some people that I hadn't really stopped by and even talked to them in months, and I just hadn't really been led to go through and talk with them. We were what you would call close childhood friends. They've never fought me or given me any hard time or hard way to go because of this particular way of life. And sometimes Yah tends to Baruch people that are outside of his name based upon how well they treat his children. So that I and this gentleman, as I said, he's older than me. We've known each other almost all my life. And the other day I was informed of someone who had passed, and I simply stopped by to give condolences to the family. And I began to talk with this man as well. As he was talking to me, Yah brought something to my attention as I listened to him ever so carefully. He wanted me to come out in the field with him at a specific job, and he said, come work with me. It's very well paying. I'll make sure you get top dollar. And he names an astronomical figure. That still didn't excite me. I heard what he said, but more than anything, what turned my stomach was his conversation with the young men in the realm that he's now dealing with, being 60 years of age himself and having to work with a generation of younger men. He was explaining how they talk to him and how he's been around and he's been doing this pretty much all of their lives. But they were so high-minded, so arrogant. And he said that every day I'm out there working, I think of you because I look at you and I realize you can handle them a lot better than me. He says, you've been blessed with that gift and that talent, and you can reach them and somehow make them humble themselves in a way where even if they're good, they can become better. And I said to my dear friend, I said, Scotty, we're in an era of time now where it matters not what trade you're in. It matters not which direction you're approaching, whether in the assemblies, whether on the job market, in the neighborhood, even in your own home. We are in that era of time where no matter how much knowledge you have acquired or how much knowledge Yahweh has given unto you, you're now facing a generation where you ain't gonna do nothing with them. And I wanted him to understand that, because I look around and this isn't even a society that calls for high level professionalism now. Professionalism was the day. They don't really need professionalism now. They just simply need bodies. That's all they need. They need bodies. IT techs can be just as dumb as the man who never understood what a computer is. They're hiring because the system is going down. And everything is hurried, in a hurry to get it done, in a hurry to know it all, in a hurry to lead, in a hurry to eat, in a hurry to be rich. Everything is in haste because though the world doesn't know it, it's going down. And it's going down faster than what most of us realize. And for anyone, anywhere, any messenger of Yahweh, any true messenger of Yahweh, I'm not going to disrespect those that are lost or those that have yet to awaken, but I'm saying any true messenger of Yahweh, he's got to feel that. He's got to see that. As well as know and understand, you ain't going to do anything with everybody. My father said many years ago, and he did say it, he called it out. Preaching and teaching had gotten so much harder. This is well over 25 years ago. Elder Johnson said, everything in this age that come in that door, come in knowing. And if you listen to them close, they come in, they know more than the preachers know. He was being sarcastic with their knowledge because they don't. But he was breaking something down in such a way that when you hear it, you understand it. But because you don't fully feel it, you don't fully experience it, you don't quite understand the depth of it. until no matter how much you talk or how much you try, you cannot reach everybody. Which puts you in a frame of mind where sometime you will have to see the judgment of Yahweh before it hits, and know how to sometimes just sidestep away from the ones that you cannot warn. It's getting more and more painful by the day to deal with people, period. And as I said unto Scotty that, no, dear brother, I can't come out there like that. I spent the last 17, 18 years of my life as an employee and then as a subcontractor with a particular company, training, teaching young men the secret even to our trade, that learning required you to shut up. I was talking with my son last night, and he mentioned something that a school teacher said to him years ago, and it's so true. And the teacher was reminding the students that something about creation that's so unique that we don't even know. We profess and pretend to really know Yahweh. But if you really think about this, there is a reason why Yahweh let both the eyes and the ears outnumber the mouth. Think about it. Because you have to do far more listening and seeing than you do talking. That's why he gave you one mouth and two ears. That's why he gave you one mouth, two eyes. He even gave you one nose with two holes in it from which to breathe. Therefore, there is no way that the mouth of the children of Israel should be double talking in a way that it outnumbers the holes in the nose, that it outnumbers the dimensions of the ears and the dynamics of the eyes. There is just no way. And Israel is suffering and dying. I don't fight with people too often on social media. I've gotten good at ignoring people. I literally mean that. I ignore them on social media. I ignore them in social life, social setting. I've gotten very good to the point where I can ignore people. I can be right there with them and hear everything they're saying and ignore them. I've gotten to that point. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And that doesn't mean that I don't care. It means that I can total Yahweh for having brought me a long ways, with yet still a long way to go. Sometimes Yah gives Israel gifts that he doesn't give unto others. We got to know and understand, as Deacon said, what our gifts are and be able to use them at the appropriate time in Yahweh. I look at World Affairs, and I was having a conversation with Deacon and the minister this week, and I said it twice. Once in their both presence, and then the other time in the presence of the minister. And I said that in dealing with Yahweh, sometimes the way in which Yahweh deals with the children of Israel is so magnificent, it's so beautiful, it's so grand that it gets frightening. It gets frightening to a point and a degree sometimes. You can pray for something and Yah move and hear your prayer immediately. Because you, like David, will say to yourself, who am I that Yahweh should take the time to deal with me in such a manner? You say to yourself, who am I that Abba Yah would take the time to teach me, to even allow words of prophecy to be uttered out of your mouth to a point and a degree where it unfolds the next day? That's frightening. And I don't mean frightening in the sense of making one seek or desire to turn back. But it's frightening because you look up and realize you are one of his, that you have been called. It makes you fall to your knees and humble yourself and thank Almighty Yahweh. Hallelujah. And yet we know that our lives are in danger every waking moment of our lives. It's not often, a lot of times, the older folks get a chance to quote the younger generation. But when you look up and you hear the younger generation speak something so profound, that's so true. Mr. Johnson always says, everybody want to be Martin till the bullets start flying. That's so profound. Because we give the impression that we look good, the leadership. Even not knowing Yahweh, even not knowing him, Yahweh chose Martin King to do what he did. Not knowing him in the fullness, Yahweh chose Malcolm to do what he did. And though they did it, they made it look good. They made it look exciting, whatever the case may be. Both men paid the ultimate price in this lifetime. But no man paid the ultimate price like Yahshua.
That's true.
And we won't follow him. We don't even strive to be like him. In our minds, in many instances, our behaviors and our mannerisms seek to guide us to even overthrow the walk of Yahshua. In other words, the way that he walked before the world is a teaching technique that's just so profound. In the short time that he preached in the name of Yahweh, he accomplished so much. And yet he wasn't rushed, and he wasn't even hurried to do it. Right up until the final moment of his life, he said, "Let us go, for he who has betrayed me is at hand." In other words, all right, I know what I'm here for. This is that moment. Let's go to that. That's the moment when most men will run. That's the moment when most men won't face the truth. They will prefer anything or anybody to be in their way. And when men have that type of moment in Yahweh, it gets frightening. I spoke some words on Wednesday in Wednesday's Torah study. Abiyah Baruch me to say it, and I brought it to the attention of Israel. I've been saying this for the last 25 years. Telling the children of Israel, there's a nation out here that's real quiet, waiting on the right and appointed time. Waiting. I haven't heard any of the shepherds of Israel bring this up, and I know what I'm talking about. I haven't heard any of them bring this up. And that does not mean or take away from the validity of their ministry in Yahweh. I just know what Yahweh gave me. And I've been saying it for years, and I've said it in ways that I've seen men proud to have been with me long enough to take information, to run with it. It's not my information, it's Yah's information. The way Yah give it to me to articulate it and to put it forth to Yahweh's people, I'm doing one thing. It's like Robin Hood. He robbed the rich and gave to the poor. He didn't keep the riches for himself. He took it and he dispersed it immediately. That's the way Yah commands that I teach. What I learn in Yahweh Yahshua, I get it off me as quick as I can. I give it to the people of Yahweh. It's just that when men run with what they have been given, and you run ahead of Yahweh, sometimes, Yisrael, everything ain't always to be uttered the next day after you hear it. Some things you have to set on. There are things that my father spoke to me prophetically before his passing that I have not uttered to people publicly yet in my life, going on 25 years now, however long it is since his death. There are things that he spoke to me when I sat with him every day of his life, pretty much, for the last 7 months of his life. And there were many things that we talked about that I don't talk about publicly because it wasn't for everybody. Some things are just for you. The greatness of Yahweh is that he's not going to save the whole world. And some things that he has granted unto Israel, he has just granted it unto you. Do you hear me? He's granted it only unto you. There are people that seek to steal it. And things get frightening when Yahweh command you teach on this, incorporate this, and put that there. Tell them this, show them that. I mentioned England and the Queen and all the things that are taking place Wednesday night. And an extremely important figure in world affairs died the next day. It didn't surprise me. It didn't fake me out. I was out on a mission Wednesday, just typically, and from time to time I go out and I do research and different things. You can bring me the best of your internet researchers. I'm going to speak in street terminology for a moment. You can bring me the best of your internet researchers, the best of your Facebook meme teachers. You can bring them all to me. I depend on Yahweh for revelation and all the research material that I get. You can bring the best of them to me, and I'll kick their ass with what Yahweh gives me versus what they sitting up stealing and hearing and making up and running with it. I'll say it again slowly. Bring the best of them. I'll kick their ass with what I have. And I bring that out for a reason. Because wherever the true shepherds of Yahweh are, there's certain things that they need to start talking to you about. And as they bring it up, you don't need to go broadcasting it before the world. Sometimes you're going to have to see it and just keep quiet. I went to William H. Lamel Middle School, and I always tell you all this story. There was a young man, he was just a bully to school. And he had a profound gang following him. Anything he wanted to do, they do. They rob you, they beat you, they do anything. But there was another brother in that school. He was the toughest thing in the school, but he was so humble with being tough. He was thorough. Now, he was a fighter. He wasn't no punk. And he knew all along he could whip any of them. But he just minded his business every day. But one day he saw the bully pick on somebody so weak, so small, so insignificant that it pissed him off. And he said, I'm going to get him today at 3 o'clock. Soon as school goes, I'm going to beat him today. And after a while, between 9 and 3 o'clock, word had spread that they were supposed to be fighting. The bully didn't even know about it. When we agreed we were going to fight. But he just said he was going to get him. Everybody didn't tell it, but some were telling it. And they just kept quiet till the end of the day when he got with him. And he whipped him so bad, it humbled him. And the weakest and the smallest of us in that school suddenly got strength and courage because one decided to stand up. And he went at the strongest and took him down. He didn't do a lot of bragging. He knew all along, all year, 2, 3 years in the he knew all along he could get it. He knew it. But he wasn't a troublemaker. And I'm saying to the children of Israel, shut the hell up. Everything we're saying ain't to the world. Though we're on the channel saying it. Let them pick it up as they pick it up. Because those of us that are in the front, it's our lives that are at stake. We ain't trying to look good for having the information. We're trying to save Yisrael. Yeah. You sitting home in the house with a revolver with 2 bullets in it. And you running your mouth, woofing at the most powerful army in the world. On top of that, it is the most wicked. It is the most sinister. It is the most powerful of all spiritual entities on this earth. And it is against Yahshua. How the hell do you think you're going to overcome it? You ain't never bust a grape to make 1 ounce of wine. It's time to shut the hell up and learn the word of Yahweh. Because you're going to have to apply it in a way. Well, like that 3 o'clock beating, you're going to have to know what's coming. Because it's not 9 o'clock in the morning for you and I. It's 10 after 2. And we're going to have to hold what we're learning real quiet and apply it to our souls. Because when Yahshua comes and he dish out that 3 o'clock beating, you want to be on his side. Not the side of the one that's been bullying the world or bullying the school. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Come on, Yisrael. For me, probably some of the saddest points is that I've been around this country a little bit. I've been places a lot of Hebrews don't even think about. Doesn't matter to me. I don't say that in the sense of bragging. I'm just saying. I've networked with Al Sharpton. I've been shoulder to shoulder with him on several occasions. A lot of people, they don't know that. I'll go back in the file and pull out some old pictures and show you all stuff. You'll be shocked. We've sat down at the table with Minister Farrakhan on several occasions when they came here to Baltimore. We pull pictures and show people that they'd be shocked to know. Minister, you did what? Yeah, we did. We networked with Khalid Muhammad, Conrad Worrell, Steve Coakley, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Neely Fuller Jr. We've networked with some of the best and the greatest of your black minds, and I got the pictures and the evidence to prove it. That's no brag or boast. What's frightening for me in April of 2021 is the fact that, having started as a young man, most of them people today are dead. And it is through Yahweh's mercy that I am still here. And I ain't here in the sense of the Jesse Jacksons being the spy, setting it up, getting them killed, or whatever. I'm here because I had a different mission than them. And it is the power of Yahweh that has kept me, because I know too that my life has been at stake on many occasions. I had a man make a call for my life to be taken on Facebook. Real subtle call saying to the people that he talks too much and certain things. He needs a little street justice. That was a secret signal. That was a call for somebody to come forward and do something to me. And I'd be damned if my own Israelite brother, I told him, I said, you better watch that man. That man is against Yahweh and against Yahweh's people. And right out and aligned himself with him. Same person makes a Facebook video up there, get a phone call 10 o'clock in the morning. Sister says to me, I just want to give you the heads up on something. Certain person is making a video. They requested now. They want to do this, that, and the other. And they recognize your knowledge and your understanding. And they setting up a meeting and they want you to sit on the board as one of their advisors. And I said immediately, tell them I said, go to hell.
That's right. That's right.
Let her know. I said, she said, no, I'm not going to tell them anything. I'm giving you heads up because you're my brother. I love you. And I know that you represent Yahweh. Yeah. I won't work with no man like that I can clearly prove to the world is against Yahweh and against Yahweh's people. You call for my death, I call for yours in prayer. We're going to watch and see. We're going to see who go down first. We're going to see who go down first. And though he tried to apologize, these apologies in this Arab time, they mean nothing. These are piss poor excuses to just draw closer to you. There's a world adage that says keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I don't believe in that crap. An enemy is an enemy. You keep an enemy as far from you as you can. You keep your eye on him, but you keep him far from you as you can. You keep him out of all of your affairs. I don't care if you drink a soda and burp. Don't let him hear it. And I bring this up to the people of Yahweh because time is so critical. I don't worry about losing my life. I don't worry about nobody taking my life from me. Yahshua gave me life in Yahweh. I don't worry about nobody taking it. Scripture says, he that loses his life for my name's sake shall find it again. You'll know you're in deep trouble when on social media you put things out and so-called Hebrews attack you. It's amazing. I was attacked this week twice by two dumbass men. I'll use that street term. Two dumbass men. Both of them are angry about the use of the term black and angry about the use of the word Yahweh. Can you imagine that? Saying that they're Hebrews. So I don't fight with people on social media. I put up what I put up and I keep it moving. And what I try to get Hebrews to understand is I'm not talking to you on my social media page. I'm talking to people that don't know Yahweh. I have a specific research style. These are people that vote. These are people that believe in the government. These are people that seek a vaccine. These are people that believe everything that this society does is right, but yet they're crying out for help. These are people that don't know Yahweh, some of whom have to be awakened. So then I have a specific research and teaching style that Abba Yah gave me in order to wake them up. You can't go at somebody that never knew Yahweh, never heard of him. And you can't go at them, Torah Yah for you, brother, shalom. Keep Sukkot. You can't go at them with high-level Hebrew terminology and expect them to comprehend the dynamic of what you're saying. Your language was taken from you for a reason. Abba Yah would not allow us to continue speaking that Kodesh language with the spirit of lies within us, with the spirit of deceit and deception. So he took our language from us. So now we have to communicate with one another and to him in the language of others who never knew him. And now we are striving to seek to obey him in their tongue. That does not deflate from the ability to understand in your own mind what Abba Yah wants from you. You're just speaking in the language of others. That's serious spiritual warfare. That you cannot fully express yourself. Take an individual with brain damage that has perfect body function before the brain damage. Yet now they still have the full physicality of a body and can no longer function fully because the brain has been damaged. Then that is Yisrael because their language has been taken, their Elohim has been taken, all of their culture. So now we function technically in the brain dead sense of being, and yet we're able to function slightly. You hear me? I'm going to talk to you from my notes today. I want you to understand how Yahweh gave me an understanding of something. Just driving around, taking care of business all week long. Every time I got a thought, I pull over for 15, 20 minutes, half hour. I pull over, I write, I go back in the scriptures and I put these little notes together and say, wow, I still got to get my material together for Shabbat. At the end of the week, Abba Yah says, you have the material right there. Teach that. So I want y'all to watch this today. I ain't going to preach this. Some people call these messages lectures. This is not lectures. We're preaching the word of Yahweh. But I'm going to lecture today. I want you to hear this. I want you to see how serious this is. Today's title is Tying Misunderstood World Affairs Back to Scripture. All right? We're going to do that. We're going to do it in a way where the children of Israel, you're going to learn a little something. But after you learn it, watch how powerless you still become. Because now that you understand it, you look and realize, wow, It's that deep. And yet we have no power to do anything about it. It's just that deep. Do you all mind if I sit down? Let me sit down. Let me rest myself this here. Getting a little older now. I do realize something about life too. You get a little older. Don't think for a minute I'm getting old and weak. That ain't what I mean. I just mean that you learn now to extend that strength. It ain't easy to stand up and teach for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, sometimes 3 hours. And then you sit down, you talk, you answer a bunch of questions, you smile. You're like, come on. Sometimes at the end of that, your spiritual energy is just drained. That's why a lot of times, even on social media, man, I had this Hebrew this week, Julian Bantu Israel. I'll call his full name. Julian Bantu Israel. I remember he sent me the friend request about a year or so ago, and I noticed over the years, so every time I would post or put things up, he would always comment when other people comment. But his comments were always little sly, off-the-cuff remarks, almost like it was a rebuke or a chastisement or some swipe at me. And I would look at this for years, but it wasn't until day before yesterday that he really set me off. And he caught me at the right time. I had plenty of time. I pulled that vehicle over. I was in a parking lot. I went in the store, got me a good bottle of orange juice and a bag of plain potato chips. And I sat down for well over an hour and a half, and I tore the fur off him. Every time he responded, I responded right back. And I did something that angered him. I learned how to fight people. Like King Dawid says, "Blessed art thou, Yahweh, who teaches my hands to war and my fingers to fight." I was fighting with these. I kept quoting scripture to him, but I wouldn't give the verse. I wouldn't say Jeremiah 6:18. I wouldn't say Revelation 2:9. I wouldn't give it. I would just quote it. Because I was thinking in my mind, since you're so damn smart, go find this. And I found out something about it. See, you're not as good of a researcher even with the Torah as you pretend. Because see, when somebody quotes scripture to you, you should be able to know. Even if you don't know where it is, you should say, okay, that's in the book. Okay, I've heard that before.
Right.
So he got angry because I put up a picture on social media. This is the picture I put up. It was a picture of a man on a dirt bike doing cross-country motor. He jumped high in the air, and both the wheels at the same time fell off. While he was in midair, somebody snapped the picture. And my caption was, "This is what happens to black people when you put your trust in America and not Yahweh." Just a sophisticated way of teaching and getting attention. So he gets angry about 2 words in the post. Black people and Yahweh. Now he's blacker than me. See, when I'm fighting with these people, I go on their page. I go look at them. I scroll through what they've posted, what they put up, because I'm getting into your mind. I'm understanding how you think. Then I go in your pictures section. I start looking at the photos you got. Because whether you know it or not, see, photos tell a lot about you. So if you sit still, if you nosy like me, you go long enough, you learn some things. So he didn't even marry a black woman. Let's get this now. I go back and look at his page that says about info. In his info, it says, a Hebrew Israelite married to a Levitess priestess. I was like, oh, here we go with this. The Levite priestess. Now, let me see if I got this straight. In the book of Leviticus, chapter 21, for the man married to a Levitess, 61 times he gives the rules and the qualifications for the men of the priesthood. He never mentions a woman. He never mentions her, except one time when he mentions she. He mentions the qualifications for a man that is a Levi. He mentions the qualifications of his Isha, his wife. And for those that are into the LGBT alphabet, G, 1, 2, 3 stuff, you can't marry a man because you are a man.
That's right.
But 61 times he gives the qualifications. So I knew, okay, this is a Hebrew that don't know nothing. You're new to it. You're excited. You're happy to learn. See, this is a novice. They're new to something, they're excited. It's like a little child with a yo-yo. You're 50 years old. You got a grandchild. Now they got a yo-yo. They 3. You playing, what are you doing? And the little child coming out, let me show you how to do it. And you done taught their mama and their daddy how to do it. But they're so excited about it because they can do it. Come here, let me show you how to do it. And they think they're teaching you. Now that's not arrogance in a child. That's the joy of life for a child because they have learned something. But we bring that childishness into adulthood sometimes because we as adults, we're so happy to learn something now we want to share that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to share it. It is the spirit in which it's done. You hear me? See, this is what angered Scotty because he can't teach these young men anything because they think that they're better than him. I was trying to get him to understand. I don't have that kind of time now. But y'all commanded me to back up on so many different things. I quit radio, broadcasting, all that. I talked to the people for 12 years. I gave people all that Yahweh gave me. Tickets on how to grow food in your backyard, your gardens. I taught so many different things. How you can buy specific books. You can read it and study it long enough. You'll learn some things. You can go out and start applying your little trade, your little technique on stuff. If you just self-apply. I taught so many things. I taught the Torah. I worked it into every dynamic of life for roughly 12 years. And I was starting to spiritually lose interest in it. It was Yahweh withdrawing me from it. Because the Spirit was leading me, there's one thing I want you to exclusively focus on. That's the house of Israel. And like a good boxer, if he's good at it, like Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, can't forget Muhammad Ali. If he's good at it, sometimes he gets in the ring and he beats the hell out of his opponent with a smile on his face. Because it's the mentality, it's the mind, it's the spirit in which his opponent comes that he determines the severity of the beating. Am I lying? That's how it worked, right? Remember that Roberto Duran fight with Sugar Ray Leonard? Sugar Ray got tired of him, so then he faked him out a little bit. Boom! Boom! He did it, okay? But it only worked one time. He didn't get in every other fight and keep doing that. It was a one-time shot. And it worked. And it goes down in history forever. This is the way the children of Israel are with the world. There was one Jeremiah the prophet. And the uniqueness of that man's existence was the uniqueness that Abiyah put upon him. Right? There was one Yeshaya the prophet. Am I correct? There was one Abraham the patriarch. Am I correct? Each and every one of them, they appeared one time in the word of Yah, and the uniqueness of what they did was enough to solidify them in the course of the direction of the life of all Israel. And before I go any further, go back and look at all the mothers and the daughters in Israel. Because, believe it or not, they were the same way. Are you hearing me? There was only one mother, Sarah. There was only one. There was only one Miriam to give birth to Yahshua. Ain't no woman do it every week. There's only one. Am I correct? So do you see your uniqueness in the world? Sometimes you're the best, and like Floyd Mayweather, he's the best. Something funny happens with the best. They pick and choose after a while who they want to fight. They ain't always running from an opponent. Sometimes they antagonize them. They infuriate them by holding them off. You know what? No, we don't fight him this year. Hold them off for 4 years. We'll come back a little later on. We'll beat him to death in 5 years. He wants the title, all that more. He wants it worse. He wants it so bad. He's been held off so long, finally getting there, and he can't get it. So with Israel and the world, someone is after your crown. And you got to be careful how you pick and choose the battles. Are you hearing me? So Julian Bantu attacks me because I use the name Yahweh. He wants me to just say Yah. Mad at me about that. Then he says, don't be calling yourself black. As long as you're black, you are still under the curses of the law. I'd like to know how you free. If you're in America like me, demonstrate to me how you're free. Demonstrate to me that you went to Jerusalem and already set up the kingdom. You telling me, come on, it's already set up. We'll never be oppressed again. Show it to me. Otherwise, you're under the same curses that I'm under. So I began to respond to the man. And I beat the hell out of him, real cool, real calm, collectively, to a point in the degree where he stopped responding to me. And I told him, I said, see, you're too dumb as an Israelite to even recognize an ally. Because you're so busy trying to teach me, you don't even realize that I'm an ally and you dare not attack the white man. So then I look at these pictures and I see he isn't even married a Hebrew woman. Come on, she's of another nationality, real light woman. I won't disrespect her, but I'll just say she ain't no Hebrew. Don't come to me with that. I know the nationalities. And look, I've studied these people around the world. I've studied stuff under my daddy that most of these brothers ain't gonna never learn in their lifetime. Do you hear what I say? The old man read. With a 6th grade education, Abba Yahweh was with him, and he understood language very well. He didn't have to show off or brag. He simply taught his children. He loved his wife till the day she died. He loved his children up until the day he died. But he loved Yahweh more.
Hallelujah. Yahweh.
And he taught that. So another man jumps in and he condemns me for using Yahweh. He puts up YHWH is how it should be said. Anybody with common sense would have never said it with the vowel sound because that name is not to be uttered. So I responded. I said, Isaiah 52:8 punches you right in your lying mouth. 52:6. Because Yahweh says to Israel, therefore my people shall know my name.
Right.
I said, in another place it's written, I did the same thing to him, I wouldn't give him the scripture. I said, in another place it is written, he says, call upon me in the day of trouble and I will answer thee.
Hallelujah.
So I said, how can the people call upon him of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without a preacher? See, this is how I respond to them. And I don't keep on going back and forth with them. And then to really want to set people off like that, Facebook give you this option. It's called block them. BLOCKEDTTT. Blocked. You hear what I say? You get rid of them. You don't waste time arguing with somebody that hates the name of Yahweh.
Correct.
This is what I learned about people who say they're Yahweh. See, everybody ain't Yahweh's just name in the name.
So true.
If you calling upon the name of Yahweh, something rattles your soul to a point in degree you got to start arguing. You wouldn't have said a damn thing to me had I said Allah. Isn't it interesting? I could have said the Lord. You wouldn't have said a damn thing to me. But it is Yahweh that triggers his enemies in such a way that even when they think that they know him, they're compelled to come fight. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
So I go to this brother's page. He's sitting at Burberry, had Burberry shorts. This is the only time I would wear this much Burberry. There's another picture of him sitting in a barber shop. He's got his nice little tennis shoes on, all this stuff. And the caption that says, I'm always where the money's at. You see? Now I started to respond and said, well, you need to be where the truth of Yah's Torah is at. But that's not, I ain't going to pick a fight with you. I'm going to ignore you too. But I'm bringing this up because as Hebrews, we're making tactical errors before the world. Meanwhile, people in the world that are seeking to steal your crown, they real quiet. They laid back in the cut. They ain't saying nothing. If you've never heard this before, let me throw this out. I'm going to say it like Jay-Z now. Watch this. Watch the throne. Okay? Watch the throne. Because the day the queen kicked the bucket, that's going to be a signal to you. The whole world going to change. I was out the other day in Barnes & Noble. I spent $100 books. Just looking at all the stuff. How I got the last book. Fumbling around. I'm looking around. It's this section of where it works out. Forgive my mind. I just detail stuff. In this specific section of this one I go to, they have social science section, current events, current events. You got to turn the corner, and there's a third current events section. After that, it's biographies. And I stopped at the biographies because for some reason or another, the Spirit was leading me there. I said, now, in these biography sections, there's always the white folks telling stories about their lives, and saying, something here Yahweh wants me to see, because I couldn't just read the story. Yes, what is it? What is it? What am I looking at? What is it? What is it? A little book up on the shelf at eye level. Inconspicuous book. Didn't mean nothing. Insignificant book. Called The Crown in Crisis. Published in 2020. And I pulled it down, and there was a picture of a person on the cover. Most of you wouldn't even know him. He's been dead for I don't know how long. But his picture was on the cover of the book, and I said, oh, I got to take this. And I went to the register. I get the book, and the book is about King Edward V. King Edward V was a king. He was himself divorced. He wanted to marry a woman who was married. He was having an affair with this woman. Now, check this out. She was a street whore from Baltimore. The ugly white woman. The rules were that he couldn't marry her. But he claimed to have loved us so much he gave up the throne. He abdicated the throne. So that the next in line was his brother Albert, who then became King George VI, who died having no children. So then the crown automatically went back to George V's oldest child, which happened to be Elizabeth. Are you hearing me? This is how she got to the throne. Keeping the lineage intact is very significant in Israel. It is imperative because you are seed royal. So then the lineage has to be kept intact. But y'all make Israel get rid of all those foreign wives that they had and those strange little children that they had running around. And this is interesting. Y'all made them get rid of them. So now today we love interracial marriage. We really think that's going to make all the nations of the earth accept us. Really? Yeah. Everybody putting all their problems ahead of you. New York Times, yesterday, Friday, April 9th. Swelling anti-Asian violence. Who is being attacked? Where? This is the New York Times now. Over the past year, the Times found dozens of episodes of race-based hate. Dozens? That's all you found? Last couple hundred years? Dozens. We've had dozens in a month. So come on. Everybody got to put their problems ahead of you and I. Remind me, I got to come back to this. There's an article in here. I'm going to read some of the details to you from this article. I said it before, I'll say it again. Get your little internet researchers and all them other brothers that think they can click on a mouse and get some information and know something. Bring them to me. I guarantee you I'll eat them alive with the way the Spirit of Yah leads me to go out and find everything that I find and tie it right back to Scripture. I'm not making it up because we done things. We done talked. We've been places. Brother Tim and I were out. We used to hit the road years ago. Elder Johnson was just quietly behind. We were two, how we say it in the street, Brother Tim? We were two broke brothers, right? Just trying to present the word of Yah, trying to do what Yah had allowed us to do. And Elder Johnson would bankroll it. He would give us gas money. Lunch money. We going off delivering books and putting out tracts and material. We were just putting it out. We were going state to state sometimes doing things. Sometimes he would roll with us. Old man chauffeuring us. Like, come on, Dad, I gotta let me drive. We were in trouble and in tight situations sometimes, just the two of us. But we didn't even realize how severe and how serious it was until after Abba Yah had delivered us. We could reflect back and realize Yah should walk right through the crowd and escape. And there were various instances where the police were at our meetings. We had broken no law. They were at the meetings looking for us. And Abba Yah allowed both of us to walk right past the police. They were looking, where's David Jones? Who's David Jones? We stand right there looking at us. So they shut the meeting down. Wouldn't even let us talk to the community. So you don't understand how dangerous it is until you start fiddling with these young drug boys on the corner and start messing with their money. They kill one another. We were just teaching the young brothers to turn to Yahweh, to repent, get out of the drug game. Not realizing the severity of it because, see, you messing with the money. All the way up to the British Crown. Lyndon LaRouche wrote a book called Dope Incorporated. And he traced the sale and distribution of drugs and narcotics. He traced it from the inner city streets of America and all the other countries around the world. He traced it all the way back up through the intelligence communities, through the drug cartels. He took it all the way back to the Central Intelligence Agency, to the British MI5. He traced the funding and the money all the way back to the British Crown that oversees the distribution of every single piece of drug, heroin, cocaine, narcotic, marijuana, tracing all of it back. So when you preaching and teaching, you're telling Yahweh's people, drop that nonsense. You're messing with the biggest dope boys in the world. You're messing with their money. Are you hearing me? We learned that the hard way. And yet we're still here. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Others take that type of stuff for granted and as a game. You ain't going to fight none. They ain't going to bust a grape. Talking, woofing, doing everything they can. And yet the times are so serious that we don't even care about one another enough to say, look, check this out, man. Just between me and you. Like I'm saying to you all today. Just between me and you. Just between you and me, all of us on the channel. If they intercept this, I don't care. But I'm talking to Yisrael. We're not hiding. There are people pretending to be you. And what's at stake is all the world and all the souls on the planet. How do you have time to play around with people like that? That are so in-depth, so deep, so into something so spiritual, Now, Minister Doc, we'll do it next week. I meant to send you that sound bite. Y'all you gotta hear this. Just bear with me, okay? You gotta, I mentioned the British Crown Wednesday night. Talked about the Queen. You gotta understand these events of the world. Prince Philip said in 1988, in the event that I'm reincarnated, I would like to return as a deadly virus to contribute something to solving overpopulation. What an irony. You die almost 18 months into a global pandemic by way of a virus. What an irony. You hearing me? Okay, I'm sitting up, researching, doing some things, and trying to put TV on, you look at different stuff. There's this movie on called The Art of Deception. It's about a virus that was manufactured in America by the CIA. But before they released the virus, they created the antidote. But the virus, when it was in the bodies of the people that would get it, it could allow them the right to remote control the people. So they put this virus in these mice. And the man's at the computer typing things that he wants the mouse to do. Now the mouse is receiving the signal. I don't know how the mouse spoke English and all that. Don't ask me. But anyway, he finally gives the command to the mouse to kill the other mouse named Ellie. He says, kill Ellie. And then the mouse proceeds to just attack and bite and devour the other mouse. And they said, thank you. And they said, we have the antidote. Good. Release the virus. Started off in America. Elder Johnson told us years ago, you better keep your eyes on Hollywood, because Hollywood is the devil's mouthpiece. Unlike Abba Yahweh, who can speak through the prophets and reveal things, the devil ain't got all the power people think he got. So then he has to show it. He got to put it out there. He got to get people loyal. He can't fill them with the Ruach. So you got to make them loyal, give them money and honor them in different ways to keep them loyal. Blackmail them through sexual allegations and other things that keep them all in line. You don't do that, you get out of line, you get Kennedy'd. So I'm looking at the children of Israel, many who don't even know they're Israel. They're posting on social media. They're laughing and giggling. They're bragging at the death of Philip, whatever the case may be. I ain't finding no affinity to them, anything like that. But there are times when you get your Malcolm X / John F. Kennedy moment. You hear what I'm saying? Malcolm mocked the death of Kennedy when he said that this is nothing more than the chickens coming home to roost. And Elijah Muhammad was angry about that comment, as true as it was, because he felt like it was ill-timed and that it would bring down the wrath of the enemy upon them for having ill-spoken or mocked the death of an enemy. Sometimes it pays to just keep quiet. You neither mock nor mourn. You understand? You just got to know and understand the timing. Wednesday's Torah study, you got to go back and look at it for yourself, because I said it Wednesday, by Thursday evening, they were announcing that the man was dead. But yet it was Thursday that I'm in the store picking up a book about how all of them are fighting to get to something. If you've ever studied that royal family as deep as you are to, you'll understand something. Last year, we went into the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and the Queen made a demand that all of the royal family be there and be there before April the 9th. What was April the 9th? That's right, it was a high Shabbat. So I want you all to understand, they didn't announce to the world what they were doing, but we're going to show you today what was going on and all the stuff that was happening. Because see, Israel, we still playing with Yahweh. We still thinking, Sometimes you got to be quiet, even in some of the worst of situations. Because sometimes, even when the wicked go down, you still can't even rejoice. You just got to know what you know and move on. Got a horror story to tie into all this, and I'm going to take my time with this. Got a horror story for you. Years ago, I was out in the street and in the community and in the neighborhood We would set up these little basketball goals. You know how young brothers do. They set up basketball goals in the middle of the block. People shooting basketball. Cars got blow horn. Get the brothers out the way. You know them type of neighborhoods. There was this brother. I grew up with him in the sandboxes together. But he became a drug addict. He became a stick-up boy, hustler. He was always doing things. He killed people. And many people in the neighborhood knew the things that he did and what he was into. One particular day, I come through the neighborhood and I stopped. The little young children were playing basketball. And I shot basketball with them for a couple seconds or whatever. I'm just there messing with the children. And the brother walks up to me and says, "Hey, get off the basketball court as quick as you can." I ain't asked no questions. I left. That man was out there with the children playing as well. What he was doing. No sooner than I walked up the street, I made a right turn, I walked down the street. Pow, 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 pow. At least 10 or 11 shots rang out. So what was that? I go back up the street signifying. He'd run up in this woman's house and he collapsed on the living room floor. As I looked and I realized who it was, I knew immediately all those years and all that dirt had caught up with him. I saw his body as he took that last breath. And as painful as that was for the family, I never forget when I hear the family every year, his anniversary of his birth and all that, they give praise and great accolades for the evil that he had done. They never discuss the evil that he's done. They just give praise for him having been alive on the earth. That's the way it works. And though we never really knew, well, I know I didn't know, but you know, we reap what we sow. I had grown to dislike him. I had a high level of disdain for him because I know people that he had robbed in the neighborhood and killed for no reason other than drugs and mean-spiritedness. So when the wicked reap what they have sown, the wicked feel as if it's such a grave injustice. But when it's Yahweh's justice, there's nothing that any of us can do. Do you hear me? I'm saying to the children of Israel, all the pieces of the puzzle are in place. If I would explain this to you, this is the best way I could say it. Jacob got a blessing. His brother felt as though the blessing wasn't his. I want you to hear how this story goes. Yahweh never told him to do it, but yet it was Yahweh's will that it go the way it went. Jacob got the birthright because Esau despised the birthright. Though he was cheated out of it, he despised it, so he gave it up. So then it naturally went to the birth. And according to Torah, a deal is a deal. Am I correct? Yes. It is better to not vow than to vow and not pay. He said, I'm about to die, so what good does this birthright do to me? He sold it to him for a pot of meat. But now he's back. And he wants to claim the birthright as if he has rights to it. This is a spiritual thing now. Do you hear me? So he's using any and everything as cannon fodder, just as Esau has always done. He'll put anything out in the forefront to get his will. You die, you die. I get what I want. So Esau has put a group of people in the forefront of a world event. Some innocent of it. Some having full knowledge of the fact that they're not Israel and they don't give a damn. But at the appointed time, according to Yahweh's word of prophecy, Esau and his man are coming down. They're going to take that throne and say to everything that helped him get to where he is, all right, all right, all right. I want everything on this planet. You get on your damn knees because I'm the chosen one. You pray to me. Are you hearing me? That's where we are. And unless we as Yahweh's people really understand what took place in this earth, we're going to miss a lot. I made some notes to myself. So that the speed of this emerging beast system is far too impressive to keep playing around and ignoring the scripture. It's far too impressive now. So much is going on now. They are seeking to make vaccine passports. All these different groups and organizations, the Sydney Opera House, the Madison Square Garden, different groups are signing on to, yeah, we with that. You won't be able to come in here and watch a basketball game if you can't prove you ain't been vaccinated. You won't be able to do, all you got to do then is tie it to banking. Well, you can't buy something. You ain't got that. You didn't get that. You can't come in my store and buy anything. This is the direction it's going. Now, the latest policy is demonstrating that America is in on this. I want you to hear this now. The United States Federal Reserve is scheduled in May to release its report on its own version of a digital currency. There are times in life where you got to thank Yahweh for white-on-white violence. And I'm going to say it now. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
A group of white people is fighting another group of white people. Hallelujah. Because right now, while y'all fighting, that's giving us some time. That's keeping y'all up off of us. So let them fight. Cheer them on. This is what I said to the Hebrews about Donald Trump. We hated him so bad because he was a racist. All of them racist. Hell, am I going to get mad and hate this racist for being more open with it than that racist who's sneaky with it? How about I take a stick and bust both y'all upside the head in the racism? You get my point? So we prefer the softer racists over the hardcore racists. But right now, the hardcore racists, well, back then, was fighting to keep from going into captivity. Because he recognized that that beast from behind the scenes is planning to enslave everybody. And he didn't want to go into captivity. And all his host of poor white trash, all his little racist buddies, QAnon or whatever they is, Al-Anon, I don't even know, Alkaline, that, whatever. Easter Bunny, anything. They all recognized what was coming. But another group said, hey, I'll do the job. Let's just go slow with it. Let's slow it down. Make me the president. Put me in there. And they said, yeah, all right. Then you done fell over a couple times. You sure you can stand up under the pressure of this job? Yeah. Well, what was I saying? Yeah, I can do the job. Now ain't that what he doing? Stand right there and talk, forgive me. And I'm not mocking him, but I'm just telling you the truth. So they said, well, you know what? We got an element out there that's chosen. You don't want them praying and organizing because then they might rise up against us. What do? Well, put her over there. She for all our policy. Fake them out like she's one of them. And then they'll think that they're overcoming. Put her in the slot. You hearing me? So all of us calm down. Tell me we did it. All right, how many of y'all for Camilla? Camel face or whatever. I'll give me say something else. That would be inappropriate. But anyway. They bluffed us out. Poor little black women. They was like, our sister. Yeah. I'm trying to make a point here, Yisrael. At least Trump was going against something. Let me explain to you what Trump was fighting here quick. This is let me mess with the research thieves. I'm gonna read some stuff for y'all today, and for the brothers that be stealing my material online or whatever. This out we're gonna have a little fun with them. I'm gonna read to you all, but I ain't gonna reveal what I'm reading from. Here's a group of white people, two brothers. They work for the New York Times. This piece of trash of a newspaper here. Years ago, they worked for them. Some of y'all wasn't born. Anybody here born after 1980?
Before.
After 1980. Okay, if you're born after 1980, y'all wasn't alive when they was fighting with these people. They had a fight. They raised the question. I'm glad y'all born now. But they raised the question. They were fighting with them. So they went digging into the files. It's like your grandma would say you can't go outside, but you go out anyway because grandma went to work or went to store. And you didn't know grandma had that neighborhood network. And they told on you. So then grandma get in. I thought I told you not to go outside. And you, everybody go outside. Yeah, you did. You went up the street. You did this. You did that. You like, now how she know? Don't worry about how she know. So now you fall back in line, right? So these two white boys had a problem with what governs America from behind the scene. They weren't beefing with the Democrats and the Republicans. They went straight to the source. But when they dug too deep, they found out, hey, wait a minute, we could get killed. You know what? Listen. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to barge in this room. You know, y'all having a meeting, go ahead. I'm gonna close the door. I'm gonna back on out, fact, my nap. I'm gonna wipe my prints off the door. I'm gonna I'm gonna tiptoe on out the hall. You understand? I want you to hear what their conclusion was, because they said something evil governs this country. And whatever it is that's evil that governs this country behind the scenes, it ties into the country overseas that's governing the whole world. I'm going to tie this into Jacob. I'm going to tie it into Esau. I'm going to tie it into Revelation. I'm going to tie it into Habakkuk. I'm going to tie it into Jeremiah. And you ain't going to look at the world the same no more, especially after Wednesday. That is, last Wednesday. Especially after April 21st. Especially after June 21st, considering he ain't going to be around to celebrate his 100th birthday now, because he kicked the bucket 2 months before he could hit it. Anyway. So these people fighting something that they call the establishment. They say, for the establishment is more than a collection of worthy and visible institutions. It is a spirit, a ghost, a force which draws others to it, especially in times of national crisis. They identify how it operates. It draws others to it in time of national crisis. Hey, they're rioting out there. They're mad with us. Come here, Negro. What do you do? How do you get out there and quiet your people down? Maybe give them some food stamps. Maybe give them some unemployment insurance, some benefit. Give them something to calm them down. Okay, we'll make you the head of it. Go figure it out and get back to me. You hear me? Anyway. But the establishment is influential, not just because of its prestige or knowledge or moral principle, but because it too is political. Political means power to rule. It listens to what the nation wants and it reacts. It adapts. It meets challenging national demands. Indeed, the hallmark of the establishment is its adaptability. This has enabled it to survive great lurches in public opinion and revolutions in economic and social conditions. In other words, every time something going on, they adapt to it. That don't necessarily mean you get what you want, but they change and get in, pretend they're going to help you, what have you, and they adapt to everything so they still stay in power. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Now remember, these are two white boys that went digging in the files and were allowed access to the files. So they came out and told something, but nobody in the black community read the book. Till this idiot named David Johnson came along. Being nosy as he is, found the book on page 326. Adaptability, however, can also be a vice. The danger is that one day this establishment might adapt itself out of existence. Did you hear that? You're going to move and grab on to so much stuff on that you're going to find yourself obsolete. Hallelujah to that. It might lose a secure sense of its moral leadership role, see its institution abridge their special character, and become mere forms or chameleons, forever shifting color in the political jungle. Should that happen, the establishment will lose its strength as a unifying national force. The readers thereby, how well has this American establishment lived up to its ideals? The readers will have to judge. The nation will judge. And the member of the institution themselves will judge. In general, we think we should render a Scotch verdict. We approve of some of the things the establishment has done, and we disapprove of others. While we wish it would behave better, more courageously, and with a quicker sense of justice and a stronger will to right the social wrongs, we are, on a whole, glad it exists. So in other words, all right, it's doing black people wrong. It does this, does it. We wish we do a little bit better, whatever, but we still in power, so overall, we glad it exists, and we glad it exists the way it exists. These are white men, mad with it. Then come to the conclusion, you know what? Things are not so bad after all for me. I think I better shut up and get back in my place. But I want you to hear their final conclusion. Having worked through all these pages and the researches and interviews that lie behind them, we are reasonably sure that it does exist. But assuming that it does as we do, we think it works best as a truly secret organization. This is your Illuminati, this your Bilderberger, this your Boule, this your Rosicrucian. This is all the secret society stuff that everybody exposing. For some reason or another, they can't work it back to the scriptures. But assuming that it does as we do, we think it works best as a truly secret organization. Secret even from some of its own membership. Let it therefore fade back into the shadows it came from. Let its institutions forget that they are even a part of it. Let them worry about their own institutional integrity, their own work. Let them not be puffed up with pride or part of a vast cabal. Let it be a spirit, a ghost, born on the wind. In other words, carried on the wind. An American thing, a myth. In other words, they got so close to figuring out what it was and realizing how it worked and the power and where it draws its power from. They said, you know what? We better off if we leave this alone. Ain't no need of exposing it. Ain't no need of bringing it no further. We better back away and shut our mouths before we too one day end up like John Kennedy. See how white folk know when to shut up and keep their mouth shut? Black folk don't know when. We keep going and going and going, even when Yahweh ain't with us. To step up on this world stage, we're going to need Yahweh. If I'm saying that the time frame is just moving so fast now, let's go to the prophet Habakkuk. I want you to see something that he said. Because the way this brother spoke Yahweh's words and what he laid out, for the children of Israel to understand, it's not a game. It's something that all of Israel has to come to see. Habakkuk chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. He says, I will stand upon my watch, and I will set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am approved. And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision, and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So in other words, what's coming is so serious and so severe. Remember, the name of Yahweh is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. You can't always fight every battle. So the battle is not ours, but it's Yahweh's. So now something so big is coming at you, you can't fight it in the street. So he says, write it down so that when they read this, they'll run. There's only one running place. There's only one hiding place. To Yahweh, Yahshua. Am I correct? For the vision is yet for an appointed time, meaning when this thing goes down, it's going to show. But the end shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. See how that works? It's coming. People keep saying, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. I know a lot of Hebrews really don't know prophecy. And they don't know prophecy, which really means they don't know world affairs. There are many that don't believe that there's a mark coming. They say it's impossible to do it. I'm not going to sit around and argue with nobody that don't see it. I'm not going to argue with anybody that don't believe it. There are others that think that it's just all about wearing Hebrew clothes. And yes, they're trying to keep the feast day. We keep all those things. There's no doubt about it. I love and honor that. I respect us as Israel. But it's more to this thing than just dressing like a Hebrew. It's more to this thing than just eating the dietary law. It's more to this than just keeping the feast days thinking you're better than the world. We have to be better than the world by simply obeying Yahweh. Yahweh sets the standard of the betterment. Not you and I, okay? I'm no better than you. I'm out here with you on the earth. I'm subject to all the like passions that you are, right? I'm no better than the world, just a servant. So now he's warning us. Don't go delaying Yahweh's word. Don't go messing around with it. It's coming. And at the point in time, it should come and it will not tarry. But we are up in that last hour of world affairs. And when I say last hour, if by chance we going on up for the next 25 years or so, you ain't going much beyond that. Too much is in place now. In the book, The Crown in Crisis, the embarrassment to the British crown was the fact that the king, after 362 days on the throne, gave the throne up for a woman that he couldn't possibly marry and be seen as honorable. So then the next king come along, he ain't even have no children. Which, like even in Coming to America, they mocked him for having no apparent heir. He had daughters, but no sons. So Britain had no king for the last, what? How long she been on the throne?
300 years.
That was cool. For the family at home, Mark says she's been on the throne 300 years. You know, she's been on the throne now for about 65, going on 66 years. She has pledged to never resign. She said she's going to die on the throne. Huh? He said, well, let's not rush her. Calm down. Let's not rush her. So let's go back to my initial statement. The day she passed, it's going to change the whole world. Are we sure we're ready for what's coming? See, you got to understand, the British Crown has this saying about itself. It says that the sun never sets on the British Empire. What that means is, you know how the sun rises in the east, sets in the west, what have you. But the way the world is structured by Abba Yahweh, there's always sunlight somewhere. It's dark here in America, it might be light in China. You know how it goes, right? So what they're saying is wherever the sun is, somewhere along the way, that is British Crown territory. That's just how much land they have control over. I think I went over it Wednesday evening. She is the queen of 32 countries. She's the queen of 54 or 64 commonwealths. You got to understand what that entails. That means these are countries and nations that accept her as the queen. And unless you understand the history of Britain, they're claiming to be the chosen people, the children of Israel. They're saying that Britain and America are the children of Israel and the 10 lost tribes. They're saying they're you. And they're saying she sits on the throne that Yahshua HaMashiach must obtain. Are you hearing me? But there are certain things that a woman just cannot do in the earth. You need a man. Are you hearing me? So Yah's word to Yahanan the prophet says, and I stood upon the sands of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns. He goes on and describes what he's ruling over, the 7 most powerful things that's under him, that answer to him, that then hold world policy and other things together. Let's tie it in the scripture now. But then he goes back and he talks about this beast rising up, and he said he saw one of his heads. Notice, this beast, one of his heads. Which head? The political leader or the spiritual leader? Wounded. Had a wound, as if unto death. But he healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. I think a few months ago I talked to you all about the Pope. How Napoleon captured the Pope. Busted the whole thing down. The Catholic Church almost lost its grip on the world. But they pulled it together, reestablished the throne and authority of the Pope. Thereby, all the world started falling in line, wondering after this. Are you hearing me? But the king ain't showed up yet. Are you hearing me? You don't want to go rushing things just yet. That's why I said, nah, for Israel, don't even go rejoicing about it. Just somebody that died. He ain't no better than nobody else. The funny thing about life, all men die. You hear what I say? He ain't no better than nobody else. Funny thing about, I know they're going to get mad at me on the channel for this, but I'm going to say it. See, sometimes when important white people die, important black people die. And important black people die, they always seem to overshadow the important white people. See, Farrah Fawcett Majors died. Oh, isn't that bad? Michael Jackson, well, hey, wait a minute, you ain't gonna beat me. Michael went too. Boop. So now Michael's death overshadowed Farrah. Somebody else white died. James Brown said, hey. Boop. Anna Nicole Smith overshadowed it again. So now here you come now, a rapper. Half the age of the one that just died. DMX died the same day. He getting more press coverage than the Duke. And I ain't talking about John Wayne. Unless you understand scripture, unless you read Genesis chapter 36 carefully, you won't figure out but ain't but one nation that called all of its leadership dukes. And that's Edom. Are you hearing me now? Yes. The Duke of Edinburgh, Duke of this, Duke of that. It's fun. What do they call the women that have that same crown? Duchess. I was looking it up last night, depending on how you say it. In Old English, she's Duchy or Dookie. Same thing I did when I was Dookie. Okay, I like that. Look them up. Anyway, y'all, man, I hope y'all getting this because I'm dropping some heavy nuggets. You can go back, review it. You have my permission. You can share it. See, I'm out here. This is what I be telling the brothers that's fighting me. I'm out here. I can't hide. They see my face. They know my face. You got your name, social security, all that stuff, identity. I'm out here. There is no hiding for me. But yes, sir.
Worldwide for a minute. A bunch over there for a minute.
Yeah, I forgot about that part. We'll try to tie it back in. Yeah, it was funny. I made the newspaper in London. I was like, man, I ain't even never been there. How I make the paper in London one night? And when I first heard it, it scared me. But yeah, I ain't pressed. That's what. Yes, sir. Yeah, that was the news article. Somebody knows. Anyway, I ain't pressed about it, but it was about a Coakley and Khalid Muhammad lecture where they talked about the beast. This is in the 90s. You're talking about the beast system and how it's going to operate and what it's going to do. And I did the introduction for the brother. So there was a reporter from London in there, and I think he wrote for the London Sunday Times. And the article appeared that day. I don't have the exact date, but the article appeared because he was at Howard University the night they did the lecture. The auditorium was jam-packed. It was standing room only. This was pre-COVID, where you could get together, you could love each other, you could hug each other, man. You could stand there all night. Anyway, we made the paper the next day. Like, look at that. That's neither here nor there. Here's the part that we as Yahweh's people got to get into. Esau, in the subtlest of sense, this will make me angry with the Hebrew Israelite brother, because they labeling all the white people as Esau. All white people are not Esau. You got to stop that. Because if all the white people are Esau, then who are the Francophiles? You understand what I'm saying? Who are the Anglo-Saxons? In fact, wait a minute. Strike the Anglo from the record. We got to come back and talk with them later. Strike them from the record. But let's deal with the Scandinavians. Let's deal with the Swedes and all the different nations up there. Who are they if you're going to label them all as Esau? Because remember now, we as Israel are forbidden, according to Torah, to hate Esau. I know. That's a tough one, boy. That's like broccoli. How many people hate broccoli? Or vegetable you hate, whatever you hate. Brussels sprouts or something. They good for you, but you hate them. You know, this on the plate. That type of thing. I know it's tough to swallow, but there's a reason why y'all tell you don't hate them. See, look, check this out. If you ever did something, and you so smooth with it, you the best at it, you great at it, what have you, all the haters that surround you, after a while, the haters don't even mean nothing to you. You the best, right? Mm-hmm. Remember we was young, they used to go skating, guys roller skate and dance, move legs like noodles and all this stuff. They smooth, turn around backward, do it. I tried to turn around backward, my head hurt, oh, man, fell and bust my head. But you can't hate the one that's good at it. So, you are the chosen ones. The haters are trying to be you. They hate you. And out of all they did to you, y'all had mercy on them by saying, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. See, this for the internet researchers. They need to go back into British culture now and start looking up like the Black Prince, Edward the Black Prince, Queen Charlotte, because their own historians are starting to acknowledge now, hey man, look at here. Queen Charlotte was black. She was a light-skinned black woman. She was a black woman nevertheless. Now, not that we, Brother Eric, you don't mind, do you? Brother Eric, light-skinned brother. Still a black man. So imagine Charlotte, his complexion, sitting on the throne. And they forced to put the pictures that they have and stuff out now. So the public saying, hey, for those on social media, you go to my page. I put it up just yesterday. I posted the Queen's coronation ceremony from 60-some years ago. I just put it up for a reason. I know black folk gonna get mad. They thinking, oh, he in love with them. He respect them. Nah, I'm trying to tell you something. But you don't understand what's taking place because the next coronation you see is gonna get the attention of the whole world. Okay? Everybody waiting on her. They were, man, the grandma, she died. All right, calm down, calm down. My grandmother lived to be 105. So let's just say the Queen. How many more years she got? Let's just say y'all would give her the same thing. You still got the beastly system up off your back, which gives you time to breathe. You get time to exercise. You get time to repent. You get time to right and your wrong. Because if it all come crashing down all at the same time, somewhere in the crash down is also the closing of the mercy door. Are y'all hearing me? So you don't want to go rushing it. Calm down. Let's go back to middle school again. I ain't like the school bully either. But when I knew the beating was going down, that was an exciting day. Because I and the one that was going to beat him, we were very close. We had this thing. I wasn't in the streets like him. But as a man, we had a very mutual understanding like David and Jonathan. We were close. I got in trouble. Some people got after me. I had to go get some help. I told him about it. He got mad. They did what? Oh, really? Hey, tell so-and-so, come down here. He called all these different people. I was thinking, it's getting bigger than I thought. I ain't need all them. I want you to watch my back. I'll fight him. He was like, yeah, you are. But all the rest of them that put their hands on you, we gonna fight them. And he did. When he brung them forces, he brung the troops. I'm telling you all that story because y'all allowed me in my life to go through that because it serves as a reminder. That's exactly how Yahshua coming for you and I. He's angry about what they've done to you. You just got to calm down. You got to wait till 3 o'clock. Remember Medea? 3 o'clock. Remember that? We got to wait. Now, though I'm talking, I'm not hiding it. I'm taking my time telling you all what Yahweh has allowed me to see, stuff my father and Elder Shul and others were talking about for years. They're dead and gone now. May Abba Yah be well pleased with their works because they strived to get it across. We're still here. We're still alive. Anybody in the dirt right now, they don't have to contend with this no more. May Yahweh have received those that are his wherever it is. Some that didn't come to know Yahweh, but just had a pure and clean heart. May he receive them as well. Because all of Israel's transgressions is piling up on us. Societal breakdown as a worst case scenario is not something that we can ignore or dismiss, okay? I'm messing with the key researchers now. I ain't revealing where I'm reading from. I'm just reading, all right? This is all public information. And you got to teach it to Yahweh's people in a way. Make them go fight for it. I do them like they do me. Make them go fight for it. I'm reading from page 46, y'all. I just ain't telling you where I'm reading from. And the reason why I'm saying it, see, if Yahweh's with them, let him do for them like he did the prophets in the days of old. He revealed stuff to them about the king. The king thought he had a spy in his own camp. Till one of the messengers told the king, Yahweh's telling this prophet everything you do, even in your bedroom. Listen to this, Yisrael. It's up here, but I keep losing it. An EMP attack or an electromagnetic pulse is widely believed to be a doomsday scenario for a developed country like the United States of America. An EMP. Military and civil defense leaders see EMP attacks as an issue to take very seriously. And in the U.S., they've been working to harden the nation against such a threat. They go on and talk about when a nuclear bomb goes off high in the atmosphere or even out of the atmosphere in low Earth orbit, it will create a powerful pulse of electromagnetic energy that has the potential to take out every electrical device in our complex technological society. Can you imagine that? Now understand this. When they dropped the bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, they had to tabulate how the bombs would do the most damage. They wanted them structured so that they would detonate roughly 1,800 feet above the earth. I don't know how far up above it is, but just 1,800 feet. It goes off. so that the blast is exponential. It's going to go down and it's going to go out and it will rise up. You get the most damage as opposed to just dropping it on the ground and it hit the ground and level and shake things. They were calculating the damage, okay? Now you got to hear what America is saying. When a nuclear bomb goes off, it creates blah, 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 blah. The immediate effect is a power blackout. The long wires used in transmission and distribution of electricity will act as antennas, picking up and transmitting electromagnetic energy to everything connected to the power grid, from motors and refrigerators to handheld electronics to computers. This will cause widespread failures in the grid itself as well. The same happens for appliances and devices that aren't plugged into a socket. Your smartphone, laptop, GPS system, cameras, they will all stop working too. Unfortunately, this blackout is a long-lasting and would affect most of the modern nation. In 2017, the United States House of Representatives commissioned a report entitled Empty Threat or Serious Danger, Assessing North Korea's Risk to the Homeland. The report contains some sobering predictions from experts about the effects of EMP attack and along with recommendations for the future. For example, they predicted the result of an EMP could be to shut down the U.S. electric power grid for an indefinite period, leading to the death within 1 year of up to 90% of all Americans. Are you hearing me? Now remember, Peter said, "For with a great noise shall the elements of the earth melt, and a fervent heat," which is exactly what a nuclear bomb does. It makes a great noise and it produces a fire that can't be put out any kind of way. Are you hearing me? The results could be to shut down a U.S. power grid for an indefinite period, leading up to 90% of the deaths of all Americans, as the EMP Commission testified well over 8 years ago. In a statement from 2015, Dr. Peter Vincent Price says, the EMP Commission estimates that a nationwide blackout lasting up to 1 year could kill up to 9 out of 10 Americans through starvation, disease, and societal collapse. Now you tell me that's something to play with? With somebody like Kim Jong-un or whatever it is, mad with different people, and you know the ego of the white man. This is his ego. When he get really mad and he go off, he ain't caring about no principle. He'd rather tear up everything than to negotiate and have you come out at the negotiation table a winner. That ain't his mind. Remember what I said, ain't no mind in all the earth like the mind of a white man. That does not have to be racially offensive. I ain't apologizing. That's just the truth. I don't know nobody in the world that's on record like that, more than white men, that are on record for kidnapping people, holding them for 10, 15 years. And when you get tired of them, you kill them and eat them. You take people's children, throw them to alligators on a rope so that you can reel the alligator in while the baby gets killed. Then you cut the alligator out and make alligator shoes. See, that's why I don't like gators to this day. I don't want no gator skin belt or anything because of what you've done to us as a people. Certain stuff I just ain't wearing. Now, that don't mean y'all going down, oh man, we can't wear gators. I'm saying me. In personal protest, certain stuff I just don't do. That's all it is, okay? I gotta, no, I don't want to say that. Let's go to Revelations 18:20. I want y'all to look at this. Y'all all right? Remember the sister said that to me. You always ask people if they're all right because you know they bored.
What?
That's what the sister said to me on channel one time. She was tuned in though. That's the funny part. She was tuned in, boy. She couldn't stand me. Like, in fact, the minister mentioned that last night. I watched because I'm looking to see you make a mistake. Really? Now, see, there are so many ways I could address that. Some of it would almost sound guttural, but yet it's scriptural. But I'm going to leave it alone. But those that know me, they know after a while, when Elder Johnson gets tired of you, he will respond. I certainly will. You're supposed to. Anyway, at the appropriate time. Now, listen to this. This is Revelation 18:24. Talking about societal collapse. 18:20. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye Kodesh apostles and prophets, for Yahweh hath avenged you on her. Now notice, he's talking specifically to the preachers, the apostles and the prophets, right? Yahweh has avenged you on her. Why? Because obviously they was doing some killing. And a mighty Malachim took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. Notice it says with violence. You have violated Yahweh's law. You violated the people. So the same way you did it, you now go down. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
The voice of harpers, that's the musician. Next verse says, and musicians, and of pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee. What's Hollywood talking about? They crying because they can't perform. Didn't DMX go and get his vaccine so that he could go on tour? They saying he was smoking crack, getting high, some other stuff. But he got the vaccine because he was ready to go out on tour and raise funds. And they say the vaccine, the family said they suspect it triggered a heart attack. But the family standing up saying, we don't believe it was no drug overdose. This is one thing. You're in the era now. If a person died with drug overdose, ain't nobody really hardly hiding this stuff no more. Because most people in the world, I won't say most, but a lot of people in the world are using some type of drug. Okay? So ain't nobody even hardly ashamed of that now. People know. They hear so-and-so died, this one OD down. People not hiding that anymore than people hiding being gay. In fact, what an irony. You can't even say gay no more. Isn't that what they wanted to be? Now they are that and recognized for that. Now they don't want you to say that. How the hell does this work? We are in a confused society. That's serious, ain't it? You've been fighting to be that, so now we say, yeah, he gay. Don't say that. That's offensive. You can't say nothing. Anyway. So he said, none of this shall be heard no more in thee at all. And no craftsman, my craft, your craft, their craft, no craftsman or whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee. And the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. Sound like a societal collapse to me. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. This is your electrical power grid. You know you ain't lighting no house by no candles today. But the light shall no more be seen, right? Didn't they run a TV show years ago? What was that show where they put the lights out on the people? Wasn't it a show called The Grid? There's something about the grid where one day all the power in America went out. I remember how they would show the scene on TV. They showed the American country from the satellite. Then the power went out. Boop. East Coast. Boop. West Coast. Boop. Center of the country. And that's how the show came on. Blackened out the whole country. And the only people that had light was these people that had this little necklace with some kind of little emblem or something on it.
And the scientists that was in on it.
And the scientists. Scientists was in on it.
How long did it take to board those out?
Then they had the other one came on behind that called the dome. Boop! Dropped this dome down on them and they were so mysterious they couldn't get out. See, we watch this stuff be laughing and giggling. Nah, they are demons and they be projecting things that a lot of time we sleeping on. Yes, sir.
King Kong and Godzilla is a dome man. And Godzilla things that stand for it broken up he's looking at.
See? Stupid stuff like that. Stupid stuff. Now, there are preachers that say, oh, they're watching Hollywood, this, that, and that. You'd be surprised what you learn that substantiates Yahweh's word. They're not prophets. They're demons and they're projecting things, okay? They're able to take a thing off the silver screen and dump it in your lap in the living room. And you be, oh. Anyway. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, in the voice of the bridegroom. And the bride shall be heard no more. What's the marriage ratio now? People ain't marrying. Young generation, they don't even believe in it, right? They believe in threesome, foursome, 97s, and all this other stuff, right? Shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth. Wait a minute. Your merchants were the great men of the earth. Like this bum here with a plan to save the world. Can you imagine that? A bum with a plan to save the world. That's like the neighborhood drunk, hook on a hole, whatever it is. You coming out one day for Shabbat service, they laid out in front of your house, and they get up. You know what? I got the perfect plan for salvation for you. You kick them in the face and keep on going, now wouldn't you?
Yes, I would. Not my fault.
A bum. But Yahweh says here, for thy great men, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth. For by the reason of all their sorceries, all nations were deceived. Now, let's back up for a minute. Verse 20, he's telling somebody, rejoice over her. Heaven, you Kodesh apostles and prophets, for Yahweh hath avenged you on her, or of her, right? 24. And in her was found the blood of the prophets. Sounds to me like you killed them. And of the Kedushim. Sounds to me like you killed them. And of all that was slain upon the earth. Sounds to me like you engineered all these murders. Are you hearing me now? Now you see why I say some of this Israel gonna have to know it and shut the hell up. Because as you know it, it ain't that nobody's stopping you from preaching and teaching. People are prepping you to ready your souls, yourselves, and your family. Because we as the men of Yahweh, we're responsible for our families and our households. Am I correct? The daughters of Yah have a high level of protection because if they have no husbands, they are married to Hamashiach. So now they're covered. But you as men, you are standing in his stead. You ain't covered unless you stand and take command of the household and guide everything safely back to Hamashiach. See how it works? When you try to tell our brothers that today, nope. I'm just going right off my notes. With all this happening in the world, it's the people with the least understanding of it that have the most to say about everything. Tell me that ain't us. And that's not good in any sense. Okay? That's us. We are always talking. I put the picture of the little man up, what he said about how he want to come back as a vow. Poor little woman jumped on there, mouthing off. See, we always talking about this stuff. How we know he wasn't already dead? That's us as a people. We always sowing conspiracy theory that we really can't prove. So now you suspect that he was dead already. Oh, well, what's the purpose of telling you, okay, he died 6 months ago. They held the body, but they just announced the date today. Okay, so what? What they getting out of it? And you sitting up propagating a conspiracy theory that ain't brung forth no more information than you would get had you went and read the newspaper to read whatever it was that the liars had to say. Which is why it is imperative to have a revelation from Yahweh.
Yeah.
I'm back to my initial point. I ain't heard no Hebrews go after the British crown. I ain't heard none of them say, hey, y'all, look, they still playing this game called the king and queen game. Somebody wants to be king of the earth. And when they are king of the earth, they're going to claim to be the one that Almighty Yah chose to sit on the throne. It fits the bill because the anti-Messiah got to come and claim all power for himself. There's a man that's supposed to come into play. He says that when he gets on the throne, he'll change his name and he'll keep his title. The title as Defender of the Faith. What faith? Are you hearing me? You're pretending to be the chosen people. But yet, chosen people, you won't take the word of Yahweh to the whole world. You got access. All you got to do is walk out in Buckingham Palace in the damn yard and say, get all the press over here. I got something to say to the world. All the press come out. You stand right there and say, listen. We've been looking in the scripture for years, and it does say that the whole duty of man is to fear Yahweh and keep his commandments. The whole world hear it. People would turn if you stood and said it, but you ain't saying that. You pretending to be the chosen people. You harboring all of this, holding truth and unrighteousness. You are the head of all the global secret society. Too much research has been done. Too many high-level white folk that been in the organization mad about it. Came out and wrote books and told. And we ain't read none of the stuff that they saying to see whether or not there's any validity to it. Y'all would come along and pick some little child up from the inner cities of America. Coming up under his daddy teaching. And y'all would say, come here. This is what I'm going to do with you. And you got to fight Hebrews for the right to even tell them the truth. I'm at a frame of mind now where I don't fight with no Hebrews. I don't even hardly address people. So many different Hebrew Israelite groups and all these Israelites now. A lot of them, they're coming off the channel. I got about 2,500 so-called friends on Facebook. Your limit is 5,000. I ain't even pushing for the 2,500. It's just people heard of the radio broadcast, dip one, send friend request. I leave them out there for weeks, sometimes months at a time. And when I got time, I sit down, I look at different ones. I profile them. I go see what's on their page. I see what they into or what they talk about. Because, see, I ain't with everybody. I get little women with the booty shorts and the breasts hanging out. What you and I got in common that you send me a friend request? So you know you get deleted immediately, boo. Get out of here. Then you get the other Hebrew here and there. They striving, they trying. You look up and be like, okay, well, I seen this name on the channel. This is somebody that's studying our friend request. Boo. See, I ain't taking everybody. I don't bother them. I was looking at the other day. I got about 97 out there waiting for me to hit the friend button on them. I will scope you out and check you as I see fit. Others I'll delete and get them off because I'm not pressed to talk to everybody. I'm posting stuff in a very humble, subtle manner, trying to reach out to those that don't know Yahweh. Because if I say it this way or that way, whatever city or state they in, they may bump into some Hebrews where they can go and sit under them because they may have heard me say it or read something or saw something. Now they have been sent to a shepherd right in their region where Abba Yah has commanded. I ain't trying to be over nobody. See what I'm saying? I take my time and I teach the way Yah commands me. But it's the Hebrews arguing everything. Whereas, with all due respect, most of them, even before I started preaching, I was at least studying and reading and looking at this stuff before most of them were even born. Which means, as long as I've been in my trade now, let me see, Mr. Johnson is, I ain't gonna tell his age. Anyway, he's pushing 40. And I got started a year after he was born. So that long in my trade. But yet there are men older than me, been doing it longer than me. I don't care how much I know, I always stand in deference to them. Because there's probably some technique or something they know that they never taught me. So you don't come up with I know more than you now. I'm better than you. The scripture says in Yahshua's precious name, the student is not above his teacher. It is enough that a student be like his teacher. In other words, you do what he teaches you to do. And then what the scripture shows, the apostle Paul told the people, you follow me as I follow the Messiah. And he never even met him face to face. He had to knock him down on the road and speak to him and spoke to him in a manner where spiritually he drew the conclusion, knowing who it was. He knew it wasn't the Lord.
That's right.
You hear me? So now that was a meeting. And it was a beautiful meeting if you really think about it. He knew, that's why he told him, follow me as I follow Hamashiach. That's beautiful because he wasn't laying no claim to nobody's personality. No claim to nobody's tithes and all. He laid no claim to nobody's house or nobody's property. He just was teaching in the word. And a lot of Hebrews today, they despise him because he was so profound in the knowledge of Yahweh that he was able to even teach the Gentiles who in their convoluted tongue, he could communicate the word of Yahweh across to them effectively to a point and a degree where even they started obeying. And that's serious. When you can get it across to another group of people in their language and make them want to live right. Most Hebrews can't even make their household live right. Can't do it. But we want to run and stand before the world. Sometimes, even when y'all would put us out there before the world, guess what? You got to remain cool and very humble. You hear what I say? Come on, man. I done been in the presence of some high-level people. I forget where we were. Community meeting or something one time. Remember that doctor? I think he and them was in a little community group or something. They had that little Jewish doctor that came there and told the children about life in the inner city and how it's hard and this, that, and the other. And remember, I love you. And we were sitting there that day and I was like, something about him ain't right. Now I ain't sitting here saying I'm some great prophet. I'm saying you could discern that man's spirit. Later that year, he was embroiled in a sex scandal. Child molestation. But sitting there in that meeting that day, I felt it. I said, something about him ain't right. He was too phony the way he was talking. You could feel it. There was an aura in the room with him when he was talking. I said, no, something about him ain't right. Bust him down. Molesting children. See how it works? You can't tell me that ain't their thing. I ain't letting no Jewish rabbis off the hook. I ain't letting no Catholic bishops off the hook. I ain't letting no Hebrew Israelites off the hook with this multiple wives stuff, this child pornography, this pedophilia. All this stuff is a sin. It is wrong. And I ain't letting you off the hook on it. We ain't for it. So you would have to call it out. Am I making sense? Yes, right, yeah. Now, let's go to the book of Titus, chapter 1. I'm telling you that we as the people in the world with the least understanding of all world affairs, we always got our mouth open. And sometimes it ain't good. There are two things in this world that always get caught by the mouth. One is a fish, and the other, anyway. Think about it. You ever went out deer hunting and anything? You didn't catch no deer by the mouth, none did you? How did they catch a cow by the mouth? So, man, we went hunting, boy, and the deer just came right down the road, man. I threw a rod out there and hooked him in the mouth. That ain't how it works. Oh, poor Yisrael. Let us be mindful to forever pray for one another, okay? I said Titus, but I turned to Timothy. Pardon me, Israel. I'm sorry. I meant to go. Titus chapter 1, verse 5. Listen to this. You got to hear what the apostle's saying. For this reason, I left you in Crete, that you should set in order the things which are lacking, and ordain elders in every city as I have appointed thee. If any be blameless, listen now, the husband of one wife, having faithful children, not accused of riot or unruly. In other words, now, as an elder, you got to be a man who your children ain't even riotous and unruly, bad, out of order, undisciplined. Get command of your house. You hear what he's saying? If any be blameless, the husband of one wife, not a dozen wives, one. How many of you? Hallelujah. Okay. For an elder must be blameless as a steward of Yahweh, not self-willed. Oh, I'm going to go through this way. When I be talking to brothers, I always get highly offended when brothers start getting philosophical with the scriptures. When I hear men, you can discuss the word all day. When I hear men get philosophical and start putting their own interpretation on it, I always get turned off because we want to do exactly what Yahweh say, not what we're thinking. Hallelujah. I've been in groups and study groups. Brother asked me, I know one brother, he tried to trick question. He put a script out there, he said something. Then he turned around and said, What's your opinion of that, Elder John? I banged him right in his face real quick. I said, well, I don't have an opinion. As a messenger of Yahweh, I don't have a right to an opinion. And didn't say another word. He got to thinking. Think about it. We don't. As shepherds, where do we have an opinion? Did Moses say, well, Yahweh, look, I think you should send us back real quick. Let us go in there and get the melons, the leeks, and the cucumbers so that everybody will be satisfied. And while we down there, let us get a couple hundred chariots from Pharaoh. And oh yeah, it was a couple nice little Egyptians that I seen down there taking baths. I want to get with one or two of them. Is it cool? He didn't do that, now did he? All right. He didn't tell Yahweh his opinion. Did Yahshua tell his opinion? As high ranking as he was, his rank was far above that of a marquis, or an earl, or a viscount, or a baron, or even a dookie. We'll square all that away later. Sounds vulgar right now, but I want y'all to understand. It's vulgar what they call themselves doing to Yahweh. Yes. You hear what I'm saying? See, don't nobody like when they done something and then the similarity get drawn back to them. People don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. So he says, he must be blameless, not self-willed, not soon angry, but not given to wine, no striker. Now, that don't mean you can't defend yourself. Let's be clear. It just means don't you be around taking first blow. Boo! Shut up while I'm teaching. None of that. Not given to filthy lucre, meaning he out preaching now just to raise money. You see what I'm saying? But a lover of hospitality. That's why I always get on us here. Make certain when people come in, you make a person feel at home. You hear what I say? I want everybody to feel at home. Even if I can't always sit still and dine with everybody, I want everybody to come here to feel that this is a place of Yahweh. Because he did say, for my house shall be called an house of prayer for all people. Hallelujah. So that even when the Gentiles come among you, you come in, you feel at home, you feel at ease. But remember now, if we're going to go with the Mikasa Sukasa thing, which is my house is your house, let's remember now, the house rules are Yahweh's rules. See what I'm saying? You got to tell people that. You got to let them know something. All right, now, hey, look, don't you get out of hand now. We had a brother here, he come in one time, he got packed Newports. He can go out and light up. I'm thinking, wow, he's smoking now cigarettes, $8 a pack. He come back, he gonna throw 79 cents on the counter back there and tell the minister, give me one of them CDs. Can I get one of them, make a donation? So I was like, well, no. Yeah, put that in your pocket. You gonna spend $8, give it to the Marlboro man or Dr. Newport, then you gonna throw your change to Yahweh. And gonna get real fresh with a sister. I'm like, all right, now hold on. I ain't got nothing to do with whoever sister's date and deal with and marry a husband. I got nothing to do with that. But what I do have authority is in y'all's house, it's how you gonna deal with a daughter of y'all. So I pulled him to the side right out front that door. And I looked him straight in his face and I said what I had to say to him. I let him know how you gonna conduct yourself. He ain't been back here since. That's what I say. Don't make no difference to me. You're not gonna be disrespecting the daughters of y'all in any kind of way, especially when we can feel your spirit and know you ain't really after the truth. If you smoke cigarettes, pray that y'all would take that crap from you. Only demons smoke. Because they're the ones fitted to be burned. Okay? So then they got man puffing a cigarette. Because it's the sign of the anger. The steam coming up off of them. So then they teach man to smoke. Alright? And if man was made to smoke, y'all would have did this real unique thing. He'd put a chimney on top of your head. Right or wrong? He'd put a smokestack right up here. You walk down the street. Boy, man, I tell you, it's hot out here. So yeah, I see, boy, you cooling off, ain't you? It been coming right out. He didn't design you like that. So you don't need it. Okay? Now, let's go a little further. So he said, be a lover of hospitality, a lover of good men, sober, just, kodash, temperate, holding fast the faithful word as he has been taught. Look, see, today they want to teach before they've sat still to be taught. That he may be able, by sound doctrine, both to exhort. This is mean to, you sit down and you got to plead with, hey man, listen, hear me out on this point for me, because see, you're in error on this. Hear me out. This is an exhortation, right? And to convince the gainsayers. But there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. See how it works? See, that's why I went at Julian Bantu Israel, because I was just seeing him smart talk me for months. And I was like, he act like he don't like me. He's going after me about something. And finally, the other day, when I broke down and I went at him, sure enough, I said again, I would quote the scripture, but I wouldn't give him chapter and verse. Because if you're so wise as a Hebrew, go find it. You should be able to know how to use a concordance. You look up a key word, right? And you go find it from there and figure, you know what, okay, cool, he got me on that. And all I told him, I said, how are you going to condemn me for using the word black? Jeremiah the prophet described the children of Israel in the captivity. He said that we come up out of it, our skin was black like an oven. I said, Shalomo the prophet, in speaking for the beauty of the bride and the bridegroom, she says, I am black and comely. So now you're angry and arguing for me with the use of an adjective. And his whole argument was, people can't get reparations if they don't have a nationality. Nobody didn't say we're not Israel. We're describing a skin complexion recognized throughout the world as black. Okay? There are others. The name Abraham, reading from right to left, Ham is a Hebrew word which means black. So Abraham was a black father of many nations. How the hell are you going to tell me I can't use the word black to describe myself? But yet I taught the lesson here where I said, well, don't call yourself black no more. Since they don't want to hear you say it, don't do it. That's what I said. Remember I taught that? Don't use it, since that's what they do. But the truth of the matter is, you can't get around describing yourself as this. So his response to me was, well, where is the country called black? And my response was, again, where's the country called white? If they have a right to call themselves white and they're pink, I think we have a right to call ourselves black if we're brown. That's right. Even if we're dark brown. Now, let's be clear. And they are so beautiful. There are some of us in this earth that are so black with blue. Tell you what I know. I like the summertime. I work outdoors. My wife tell you I like that. I get dark. I come in the house, I be black. Then out there in the sun all day. Then you roll up your sleeve, your arm yellow. Sometimes you don't even know how light you are until you take your shirt off. Then you look up. Look at that. I take my watch off right now. I bet you I got a tan under here. I ain't got to prove to y'all unless you want me to. But do I need y'all? All right, thank you. Anyway, I like that. I always wished as a young man, I wish I was a little blacker. My youngest son, he black. He black as that shit. He a dark dude. He dark as my oldest brother. He look just like him. He's so black, children call him Black Ice in the neighborhood. I just wonder why they call your name like that. One of the children in the neighborhood was picking on. He come outside with a cup of ice water. And they picking on him. Shut up, Blackie. He put the cup of ice down, beat the boy up. Picked his ice up. And they nicknamed him Black Ice from that day forward. I just shook my head. Dark, beautiful complexion. Black. Don't be ashamed of your skin tone. There are others that are so jealous of you, they hate you. So they dug deep into their arsenal of tricks to make you hate yourself. Yet they envy you because they are not you. Yahweh did that. You can't take away from that. Yahweh did it. He made them the color that they are, and then he made them hate you because they cannot be you. Are you hearing me? Yahweh did it. So the fact that y'all are mad about it, see him. Talk to him about it. Hang around long enough, you'll get black. Scriptures say he's going to burn you. He's going to put you in that flame of fire. Said where their worm shall not die. I bet you ain't going to stay there and stay the color you are. So you don't worry about it. You get there. Be like KFC chicken. I didn't want that. Rotisserie? Original? It's going to be extra crispy and black. That's all I can tell her. So now, listen to this man. He says, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses now, teaching things they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. That's all they do. They teach for sake of money. Brothers and sisters make offering and donations here. That's how I was able to go out and do some of the research and get some of the stuff I get now, because I can go get it and I can dissect it. I can read that stuff a mile a minute and break it right back down, trace it to Yahweh's word, and tell Yahweh's people so that they can be prepared. This is the fundamentals of our relationship with Yahweh. And everything you do, keep a prayerful heart and a repentant mind, okay? That's the key to salvation. And from there, you do everything that Yah commands you to do. That's the secret, okay? We have to, it's more to it than just wearing the clothes and being seen in our photographs as pictures and taking titles unto ourselves, grand title. I will never call myself a prophet or a great messenger. Anything. We use the word elder, or Hebrew word is Zarkane. It's the same as elder. Sometimes I get letters from the brothers. They write me, and the letters will say elder Zarkane, and I get a kick out of that. I say, okay, it's elder. They say it in Hebrew and English, but it just means the same thing. It's just the old man. And sometimes above 40, they don't necessarily have to be old men, but they have the wisdom of the elders. That's why in Hebrew they called them Zarkane, because they were old men with a line of wisdom. The more you study the Torah of Yahweh, the more you become disciplined, because he is the Ancient of Days. You're learning wisdom that far surpasses all of the nations. Are you hearing me? And when your wisdom surpasses them, you got the knowledge of old folk. You hear what I say? Come on, man. That's why sometimes your children talk to you in those old terms. You're like, I ain't been here before. Those old babies, they say things. My grandson said to me the other morning, he was excited about this story. His grandmother read to him and Lord Jeremiah running around here. She read them the story about Daniel in the lion's den. So 8 o'clock in the morning, he talking to me. He talking my ear off. But I dare not shut him up, or I dare not disrespect him. I let him talk. He says, we're going to talk to Yahweh, Daddy. Papa, we're going to talk to Yahweh. And we're going to talk to Yahweh. And Yahweh helped Daniel. And Daniel was in the dying thing. And Daniel told me. And Yahweh said. And Yahweh... I just let him talk. That's what he said. When you teach this to your children, it's going to show. It's going to come out. Whatever you are teaching your children as parents, trust me, it's going to come out. Teach them a bunch of stupid stuff at home. See if it don't come out in the worst place you want it to. Right in the sanctuary. See if they don't show off in the sanctuary. But if you sit them down and you teach them the Torah of Yahweh, all the things, say, look, in the house of Yahweh, you don't do this, that, and other. You got to instill it in them. You got to teach them. You got to tell them those stories. Teach them those things in the word of Yahweh. Teach it to them. Catch them on a Tuesday. You ain't got a whole Bible study. Sit them down sometime, just talk with them. Teach them. Put the right thing in, and the right thing will come out. Okay? That's all we got to do. Because this is your wisdom and your knowledge and your understanding. Where? Meaning they're going to be looking at you. Because remember now, Scripture says they look at us and these are the people of Yahweh that have gone so far from him. In other words, these people are terrible. Look at them. They're walking around, got their pants hanging backward. They got this, they got that. Man, come on. These people are terrible. Black folk talk that stuff about dying and going to heaven. Remember Tupac wondered if heaven got a ghetto and all this stuff. What does it need a ghetto for? These are the minds of us as a people. You know, black folk, they'll die and go to no heaven. Come on, man. You beat a messed heaven up inside of 2 weeks if enough of us died and went to heaven the way we display it. Am I correct? Come on, man. You know what they do. Had old McDonald's rappers strode all over the clouds. Be done broke down Yahweh's golden gate, swinging on the gate, climbing over heaven, be smelling like weed. Come on, you had ketchup stains all on your gowns. You turn your little crown around backward. Come on, man. You know us, man. I know y'all ain't gonna laugh. You like, hey, he talking about my son. He talking about my cousin. Yeah, come on, man. I got family like that too. I got family like I get up on them and they get mad when I come around. Hey, pull them pants up. What's the matter with you? Pull the little pants up, standing there like this. Whole time I'm there. They know not to let them go. You need to get about.
That's right.
All you gotta do is teach them, man. I'm telling you. All you gotta do is just teach them, man. You gotta say something to them, right? When my grandson cutting them one day, I always get him now. I only had to jack him up. I used to grab him up, just mess with him. I used to be funny to me. I'll grab him up. He don't like you wrinkling his shirts. I'm like, he likes to stay neat. That's awesome, okay? I won't grab him no more. Now I can just talk to him. Hey, come here. Okay. He know now he in trouble. Ain't he got to beat him. I said, now look, you're too old for that. You're this, you're that, the other. You're a little man. Do you understand me? Yes. I said, say it. I'm a little man. I said, good. You're a man child. Say it. I'm a man child. One morning I told him, I said, you're a little man. Remember that. He goes downstairs. He catches his grandmother. Snack time. What did he say to you? The man wants some cookies. Remember that? I'm upstairs. I heard it. He tells her the man needs some cookies. So in our house, we got this thing we do when we come in. One's there and the other come in. We come in. She'll come in. Hey, man, I'm home. Say, hey, woman, how you doing? We always, that's our nickname, man and woman for each other. So she immediately is thinking, what kind of cookies does he want? I'm upstairs giggling. I'm like, thinking to myself, it ain't for me. I told him he was a little man. So real smooth, he knew how to manipulate. The man needs some cookies. We had a good laugh about it, but I was like, he's thinking. So Yahweh tells Israel how we do this. Let's go back to the book of the Lamentations now. If we're the people that know the least about Yahweh, right? We suffer, we know the least about world affairs, and our mouths are always open. Sometimes Israel got to be quiet. And this is what Jeremiah said to children of Israel. The Lamentations chapter 3 starts somewhere around the 19th verse. I want you to hear this. 3:19, he says, remembering mine affliction and my misery, the wormwood and the gall, my soul hath them still in remembrance, and is humbled in me. In other words now, having gone through some trials and tribulations in Yahweh, it beat me down so bad it caused me to pray that I remember those things now, and I still keep it in my mind. This I recall to my mind. For this cause have I hope. In other words, Yahweh delivered him when he went through his trials and tribulations, but he didn't get high-minded. Sometimes people get stricken by Yahweh and they don't take note. Jeremiah said, Yahweh, thou hast stricken them, but they have not grieved. They have refused to receive correction. Sometimes Yahweh's talking directly to us, but we're trying to reverse it, trying to make it something big and something great. He's trying to get our attention in order to humble us to even bring us up to be even greater. You hearing me? So listen to what the prophet's saying now. It is of Yahweh's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions do not fail. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness, or thy emunah. The old folk used to sing that one, didn't they? Great is thy faithfulness. You hear that one, man. Old folk, man, they get your attention when they're old women. They would sing that. Remember back in the day? Old women, they sing it, boy. You know them old church mothers. Now, I ain't been in the church, but I've seen enough. You know them old church, the ones that can bellow them notes out. They go from soprano to alto to what is it? Tenor, sometimes a little bass. You know, and then great is thy faithfulness. You know the ones. They remind us, and it is true. Yahweh is my portion, saith my soul. Therefore I will have hope in him. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Yahweh is good unto them that wait for him. So wait on Yahweh. Shut up, stop rushing him. Wait on him. To the soul that seeketh him, it is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of Yahweh. See how you can't bring it. All our brothers rushing the kingdom of Yahweh, trying to get it on. Years ago, right? I was in my father always taught. He was a real fiery preacher. You know, he was that Malcolm X style minister. He wasn't no chump with the word. So we were raised. We didn't hate anybody, but we were taught to be, I guess if you use the word proud in that sense, we were taught to honor our own essence and being. So I'm all out. I like this Black Panther stuff. Yeah, Black Power. Yeah, kill Whitey. All that. I was with all that. I was just sick of America, the oppression, all this other stuff. Until recently, I saw something that really just blew my mind. But I don't even know if I should say that now. But anyway, my father says to me one day, "Boy, all that junk is phony. Ain't nothing to that." Just crush my little ego, you know. I'm like, wait a minute, man, Malcolm, man, you know, how you say ain't nothing to it? My father said, meek and humble is the way. This is the way to salvation. Yeshua didn't threaten to get them. They know they're going to get them. He started breaking that thing down and gave me the true definition of our revolution. Our brothers around talking revolution. If you notice, now tell me if I'm lying. Y'all notice now, you don't hear none of that Black Power stuff now, do you? Brothers ain't got that fist in the air, afro pick, the bush, and all that stuff. Man, they after the bag now. Am I lying? You don't hear that. The Afrocentrics, they quiet on that. They still into Egypt and all that other stuff. But you don't hear them talking on revolution and all that stuff. You know why? Because they know deep in their soul now. They know you ain't going to win this. They know the white man got the world locked down in such a way that they can't quite explain it. But see, it's so spiritual, they hate when you explain it because you have to trace it back to Yahweh. And they really don't like that. So that's a signal to you. These are somebodies that are not Yahweh's. Unless he called them and wake them up later, most of them hate him. But yet they still think all the gods of Egypt going to save them. When? Which of the gods of Egypt are revealing the forthcoming events? Which of the gods of Egypt are healing all your diseases and all your plagues? Which of the gods of Egypt said to you that call upon me and I will answer you? Which of them said it? You got all these gods, the god of fertility, the god of potato chips, you got the god of the root beer sodas, you got everything. Which of them going to save anything? And when they going to move for you? How many you got? Set, Isis, Horus, who they got so many. You got to read up on them, understand all of the different roles that the different gods play. And if you read that stuff close enough, you see them gods fighting each other throughout their own history. How they gonna deliver us? Come on now. They get mad at me for saying it, but you know I keep saying it because see, they ain't got no answers for you. But yet y'all would give the answer to all of it. Y'all would have broken down and brung prophecy into your living room. Let's go into this a little further because y'all got to hear some of what I got to say today. So now, in the Lamentations, he let them know, right? It is good for a man that he bear the yoke in his youth. He sitteth alone and keepeth silence because he had borne it upon him. Some days you work so hard, man, you come home, you ain't got nothing to say. You just sit down and shut out. My wife say, well, what you want to eat? That's cold. I don't know. Whatever you put on the table, I bet you I'll bite it. You know what I don't never squawk about, well, fix this. Well, I don't want to eat this. I think only one time I can remember that. That was last week where we had something I just didn't have a taste for. We had two different things. She gave me the choice, and I admit now, I think she wanted what I chose. No. Oh, okay. It was fish and a burger, right? Remember? And I didn't want the fish. Lamb. No, it was salmon. Salmon. Yeah, I wanted the burger. I thought, because I bit the burger the day before, I think. You said they wasn't my best. I don't know about that. Mr. Daweed was over there. He threw down on it. Remember that? You see, there you go. Out of the belly of two witnesses, it's true. But anyway, so there was one burger left, and I thought about how tasty it was. She put all the seasonings in it. All the seasonings just ran to the specific corners where they were supposed to be. As soon as I bite it, my tongue hit it. The seasonings was laying there waiting on me, like, yeah, we waiting on you. Where you been, Elder? Here I am. I'm on your tongue. All right, taste it. So I remembered. I said, you know what? I'll take that burger. And she said, all right, well, I'm gonna eat the fish. All right, thank you. So the word says here, he sitteth alone and keepeth silence because he is born. And sometimes you work so hard, you ain't got nothing to say. Listen, he putteth his mouth in the dust. If so be, there may be hope. In other words, sometimes, brother, just shut up. Ain't nothing to say. So y'all, please have mercy. I came here the other day. I had some work to do. So much was going on. I was thinking about so much that happened for Israel. I fell to my knees right here. I don't pray great long prayers. Y'all will tell you when you pray too long, he won't hear you. You ain't got to stand and pray for an hour and a half. Just ask for what you need. Y'all will know. Sometimes you got to say, because you know more about it than we're capable of asking. You ain't got to rehearse it. You ain't got to be all great with the proper words. Oh, Father Yahweh, bless those that breathe and inhale and exhale. Bless those that have hands to remove the remote and pray. We bless those, Father Yahweh, that are dry. He knows all that. Get straight to the point. He don't want to be bogged down with it long. Ask for what you need. Right? I sat right here and I prayed for all of us as the people of Yah. And I got up. I walked back down that aisle. I got a habit I do. I try not to make sure we walk through here because the footage of the speakers, you don't want nobody trip and fall into that, hurt themselves or nothing. So I got a habit. If I don't have to, I don't go through that way. I went all the way back down the aisle, all the way through the door, went around, and went in my office, just like the service here. And I got in my office and I was like, what to do that for? Could have went right through there. But I thought about it because I subject myself to the same rules that Yisrael is subject to. But I sat down and started my research and my studies. And I felt so relieved in prayer and realizing that was the right thing to do. I'm subject to the same rules that all of Yisrael is. And I felt as if Yahweh answered that prayer. And that's when I was telling Deacon and Minister later that evening. I said, man, sometimes Yahweh move for us in such ways that when you see him move, it's frightening. We have this freezer in the house. We have these conversations, different things we talk to. I ain't believing in omens and things like this, but every while you don't chalk a thing up to a coincidence. We can sit in the house and say something stupid. Yeah, the sports center and this, that, and oh man, and the cartoons and the monkeys flipping over. It never click on. It has automatic on and off. It shuts off. So you can sit down and discuss things in our dining room at the table and say something so profound. And that freezer will click on the most profound point. We can sit back and say, well, one day the world will really come to realize that Yahweh is not playing with them. Click up! It does it time after time after time. And I believe it was yesterday I was talking about something, about the world rulership. And I said, yeah, it ain't no irony that the man who decided, I'm paraphrasing myself, he would like to be a virus to wipe out the world, died right as the thing celebrated this year anniversary. Click up! And I and the minister just looked at each other. Minister said, it ain't no coincidence that he died, and y'all will let you teach that. See, somebody got a birthday coming up April 21st. She'd be 95. A lot of people sitting back waiting on the queen to kick the bucket. And they say Charles is a dullard. He ain't got the personality she got. He this, he that, and other. All he got to do is take the throne and fit what the scripture says the anti-Messiah fit. That's all that matters. We ain't worried about what the world say about him. Is he the one? Or is his son the one? Brothers take the research and things I say, they run with it after hearing it one or two times. Whereas I had to sit up and pray and study and watch this stuff for years. I've been sitting on this stuff for the longest time before y'all would give me the authority to speak on it. So I don't always speak on everything I know. Let's go back real quick to the book of Genesis, chapter 36. Probably somewhere right around, let me see, the 15th verse, if memory serves me correct. I want to show y'all something. Because, see, you got to know certain things, and you can't be discussing everything with everybody because, number one, they ain't going to receive what you're saying no way, okay? So sometimes trying to discuss it, trying to get them to see it, it is a waste of time. Some things Yahweh doesn't intend for them to see. I want you to hear this. Genesis 36. Now, these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Now, Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan. Adah, the daughter of Eljon the Hittite, and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite. How many wives is that? 2. And Bashemath, right? Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebaioth. And Adah bare to Esau Eliphaz. Bashemath bare Ra'u. Now you hear this word, Ra'u, right? You know that certain nationality people buy it by their name. Take that as a footnote, tuck it away, okay? And Oholibama bare Jeush, and Yalam, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters, and all the persons of his house, and the cattle, and all the beasts, and all the substance which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. And they couldn't stand his brother. So he's like, you know what? I got enough. I can make it. Let me dip. Let me bounce. We out. However they say it, right? Remember now, he was in the land of Canaan. For their riches were more than that they might dwell together. And the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. These are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomite, in Mount Seir. Some verses sometimes say Edomite. That's how you pronounce it in the plural sense, okay? Edom, the nation, Edomite. Just understand how it should be utilized. The names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau; Reuel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Chenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Reuel: Nahath, Zerah, Shema, and Mizah. These are the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Oholibama, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zebulun, Esau's wife. She bare to Esau Jeush, Yalam, and Korah. These were dukes of the sons of Esau. This is the first time this word gets introduced to us in the Torah. Am I correct? The dukes. I want you to understand this is a code coming out of the family, knowing the covenant, knowing the history, knowing that they were royalty. He ascribed this terminology, the dukes. There's an old song, the young black brothers, you Duke, 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 Duke of Earl. Remember that? Brothers singing with the bass and all that. Okay, we understand it now. But unless you know the history of this and where these nations have resided, how they've intermingled with other nations, how they've lightened over the years, but how they have kept perpetually their same spiritual flavor as their fathers. This is where Hebrews who really don't know world history get in trouble, because they name all the white race as Esau. It is not true. Okay? Now, you have to know something about the dukes real quick. Where does the duke rank in the order of a monarchy? Anybody know? Nope. Nobody knows? We agree nobody knows, right? Write this down. The dukes are the highest of the 5 ranks in a monarchy. They rank in peerage above the marquess or the marquise, depending on how you want to spell it. Marquess is guess the marquess. They are above the marquess. They are above the earl. They are above the viscount. And they are above a baron. You hear me? Interesting, ain't it? We got to know that. You got to understand it, because in order to be a duke, you got to be in ranking somewhere under the tutelage and or the authority of a king or a queen. Are you hearing me? Knowing the lineage of his father, knowing that he come up out of the lineage of Abraham, out of the lineage of his father, Yitzhak, he understood the covenant with Yahweh, the royalty. So now you jump from Esau all the way down the line of time to the people that are pretending to be you and I today. You ask yourself, you all go check this. Make sure I ain't the only one looked at it. How is it that no other nationalities under the face of the earth call themselves the duke? I checked to see if there were any dukes in Africa. Any of the African nations abide by dukes? Is there any dukes in Africa? You sure? There is one. Dog. He's down in South Africa. What an irony. He ain't a black man. You get me? See, I want y'all to check this now, because see, dukes inherit the title from their fathers. And as a duke, you are a ruler. You have authority over stuff. My cousin Ishaka Ra, Hannibal L, if you ever see him on, anyway, it don't matter. My cousin, he asked a question yesterday, and I didn't really want to get into it, but I answered his question. He said, how in the world could this man die next to the queen and he not be a king? So I had to explain the ranks to him. And I had to break it down to him. See, not only were they cousins, not only were they husband and wife, but they were cousins. So they were third cousins. And Israel needs to understand a little bit about this. A lot of times we don't know things like this, okay? Let me see if I can pull this out real quick. Queen Victoria, she died in 1901. We ain't going back much further. Queen Victoria died in 1901. Queen Victoria was King Edward VII's mother. King Edward VII was the father of King George V, who was the father of King George VI, who was the father of Queen Elizabeth, today's queen. So we didn't run her lineage. But as you're checking Victoria, out of Victoria's children now, from Victoria's children, King Edward VII and his wife, Queen Alexandra, they had a king of Denmark. Set him over there now. Understand, they extended their authority. King Christian IX of Denmark, who had a son, who was King George I of Greece. He died in 1913. And this is where it gets interesting. My father was born in 1913. Now I'm just giving y'all a timeline. This means it's contemporary for us. So now, King George I of Greece died in 1913. But King George had 3 sons. King Constantine, Prince Nicholas, and Prince Andrew. Remember, when a king dies and his son takes the throne, any remaining son, the firstborn becomes the king. The other 2 are prince. They can never become king unless the firstborn dies. Then the second one becomes the king. If the second one dies, then the third one. That's the ranking. You don't switch the ranking. From the 3rd son, the baby boy, Prince Andrew, and his wife, Princess Alice, they had a son, Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten, who is the cousin. Remember now, the queen had 3 sons. One son had 3 sons. The 3rd son has a son, which is the old boy that just died. And he, born around the same time that Elizabeth, the daughter of King George VI, they marry. He can never become the king, though he is married to a queen, because he's not of the direct lineage of the British Empire. Am I making sense? He is a Grecian. And you got to work the Greek roots into it, okay? Because, see, the Greeks and the Romans start to tie in. And they tie in a way where unless the people of Yahweh really know their own history, they miss the importance of understanding how Daniel told Israel about those 4 worlds empire. Ancient Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar was a king. Media Persia, Artaxerxes was the king. Here comes Greece. Alexander was a king. Here comes Rome, Titus, and others. They were kings, right? Out of their lineages and intermingling in the day of Yahshua, the Edomites were ruling as well with Rome. You got to remember, when Rome fell, unless you know the history of how they fled and had to flee up into the northern countries, you won't catch their history because you're looking at a void in the Dark Ages and most people didn't trace them. So I had this book in the men's study called The Antichrist and a Cup of Tea. I like this book because, see, I'm going to tell the researchers about this one. See, I like this book because it tells a story about the throne of the royal family. So I had this book in the men's study, and the brother wanted to borrow it. He got mad with me. He stormed out on me. Never came back. He kept the book. Yeah. Anyway, Antichrist and a Cup of Tea. Now, you want to? Okay, yeah. Let the people at home, because I want the people to see this. I may come back next week and talk on this, because you got to tell y'all was people this stuff, because somebody pretending to be you and playing you, they not messing around. They patient. They quietly waiting. Got it? Total Yahweh. So this is a little white man by the name of Tim Cohen. Now, you got to hear how Tim Cohen lifts himself up. He thinks quite highly of himself. Yeah, hey, let's get it in. He's older than you and I. Listen to this. In 1956, during the Suez Canal conflict between Israel and Egypt, ain't that where the ship got stuck in the Suez Canal? Okay, see, anyway. My mother and her family fled Egypt as secular Jewish refugees. I was born 9 years later in May of 1965. So he and I are around the same age. Oh, see, now I got an opponent a little bit here. In July of 84, I enrolled in the class of 1988 at the... in July of 1984, I enrolled in the class of 1988 at the United States Air Force. I was trying to figure it out for me. How you enrolled in the class of 88? Yeah. In other words, he went in 84, had to do 4 years. Forgive me for being stupid. Anyway. And in November of 86, I received Jesus as my Savior and Lord. Yeah, that's it, my Jews for Jesus. Although my experience at the academy had rarely been what I call good, United States Air Force Academy proved to be the cauldron of affliction from which, let's say it like he said, from which, no, I won't, will give me the perseverance and strength to proceed with his work. As a born-again Levite or Jew. Liar. See, I ain't gonna be a Levite and a Yahudim. I told y'all, if you notice the Jewish community, those are the only two tribes they ever claim. Ask them, what tribe are you of? They never say, oh, I'm of Naphtali. Oh, I'm of Zebulun. They claim the power tribes. One tribe is the priesthood, one tribe is the kingship. They hung up on power. See that? Greed and obsession. They hung up on power. So now he gonna be both tribes at the same time.
Wow.
It's like me being David and Black Ice at the same time. Anyway, I soon realized that my calling in life had little to do with serving the United States military. My life had been turned upside down. He goes on to talk about how he came to the knowledge of the truth and all this stuff. He did his military stint. He worked around the world, what have you. Anyway, he gets into this fight. And this fight that he gets into is what leads him to do all the research for this book. So, in other words, now he's talking about the functions of the queen and the vocabulary and all this coronation stuff that went on. He's fussing because these people claim that they have received the real stone of Scone, which may have a Hebrew inscription, and whether the stone he did obtain is the one that England reluctantly returned to Scotland in 96 from Westminster Abbey, which appears to be nothing more than a Scottish slab of reddish-grey sandstone. The stone is now on display at the Edinburgh Castle, Scotland. What's the name? The Duke of Edinburgh?
Yep.
Edinburgh. I'm saying Eden. All right, we go with mother. We'll say it again, mother. Edinburgh, as in. Oh, I'm looking at it. All right, I see it. Y'all messed it up. I'll give it say something smart. But all right, I'll accept ED for people at home. For the people at home, EDINBURGH, right? Edinburgh. I'll give it say something smart about them, but maybe perhaps y'all saved me. Anyway. Anglo-Israelism received new life in this century through its popularization by the late Herbert W. Armstrong's Worldwide Church of God. As the cornerstone of his theology, Armstrong adopted Anglo-Israelism. It is Armstrong's belief that the Anglo-Israelism that drew the most theological attention. Though Herbert denied it, his doctrine closely resembles the theory expounded by Canadian Richard Brothers, a psychic visionary who lived in London in the 18th century. Ignoring sound rules of linguistics and hermeneutics, the theory suggests that England, supposedly superior, Ephraim, and the United States, supposedly the inferior, Manasseh, are what is left of the so-called 10 lost tribes of Israel. So, Herbert W. Armstrong did indeed write a book. Oh, I'm looking for the book here. This is Herbert W. Armstrong's book, The United States in Britain and Prophecy. My daddy would be proud of me because he had this book when I was a little boy, and I still have it. See how you just keep stuff. Anyway, that's Herbert W. Armstrong on the back of the cover, coming out of the little airplane, waving, yeah, all that old stuff. See, I'm going to tell y'all something that white people won't like you saying, but this is the truth. That British Israelism stuff, Don't play them cheap because they're pretending to be the children of Israel. I have a 1975 Sacred Name Broadcaster magazine from Jacob O. Myers in the Sacred Name. And you catch Elder Myers in there saying the same stuff. That Israel and Great Britain are the 10 lost tribes. And I'm like, see, now you have demonstrated just how far off you are with your secret belief. You teach one thing publicly and you believe something behind the closed doors. You get the same thing with me behind closed doors, you get over the microphone. See, we ain't going to switch up no doctrine. So they're saying it. So I'm asking, how do they set up a world global system? A beastly system. You ain't going to be able to buy, you ain't going to be able to sell, you ain't going to be able to do nothing unless you got the mark. So how do you set that system up? Be against Yahweh and against Yahshua and be the chosen people too. How does Yahshua get to be Yahshua and the anti-Messiah? A kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. So this man denies all of it and does not agree with it. He's fighting it and he's pissed off. So his whole book is about taking the British crown and breaking down for you what all the regalia and all the symbolism and all the stuff really means. Showing you that these are signals. When she knighted her son in 95 and did something else again in 2008, I believe it was, the emblem had to change. The white one is a white horse. The yellow one is a lion. The dragon and all of that stuff had his hand released. When certain things were given, new powers were given to the prince. So they changed the emblem where the dragon, which has its paw raised in the book on the cover, now he touches the glass as if to break it. So the symbolism and the story of it, the dragon and all of that other stuff, the Lion of Judah on top of it all, they're playing with symbolism, pretending to be you and I. So when we say to you all, hey, look, y'all, Britain ain't had a king in a while. It was never Yahweh's will that they fully have a king because they intend to rule the whole world. Which is why in this game that they play with the duchess and the dukes and all of this other stuff, you even now got to tie them in as well to Revelations 2:9 and 3:9. Because somebody's pretending to be the children of Israel. They say they are Yahudim and are not. I should go get it, but I don't have to. I held it up Wednesday night. Go back and view it. There was a magazine, the Philadelphia Trumpet, where they start breaking it down and telling the story. These people are saying that they are the seed of Yahudah. And at the appointed time in Jerusalem, they're going to set up a throne. And somebody's going to try to sit on the throne and proclaim himself to be the Messiah. Now, in my research, you need to understand, where is the ranking of a Lord over a Baron? Because, see, all these titles come in when somebody has to say, Lord Rothschild had bought some land. Had a deed to some land going back as far as 1888, saying, hey, I own the land. They were trying to send a group of people over there, and they weren't sure where the chosen land was for Israel. They were going to send them to Uganda. He was holding the deed the whole time, saying, hey, wait a minute now. Which is more important? To be the king or to be the kingmaker? Who holds the most power? And you ain't got to answer me right now, but it's imperative that you all understand something somewhere behind the scenes holding still. Because if you own the land and the deed, but you waited, you mapped it out, you started looking around, you had all of this excavation material, you studied everything in the land historically, and you held it till 1903 when you started declaring, eventually we're going to have to go there and take the land, set up yeshivas and all these other things, and set up our schools where we start teaching. This should ring a bell in your mind because in Israel, they took us out of the land and they brought other people in the land to replace us who the land rejected and spit them out because they didn't know the culture of the land. That's why certain group of people over there today sickly and dying and suffering because the land ain't even receiving them. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. He make the world of people might accept you, but y'all would make even the earth regurgitate you. I want y'all to hear that. You are scattered. You are removed far from your border, like the scripture have said. But others are pretending to be you and sitting up acting like ain't nothing wrong. And we sitting back just, come on. Old girl broke away and complained and fussed and moaned and said somebody was concerned about the color of the baby as to whether or not the baby would darken up. Well, I only know one person that they say was famous for straight up and down outbursts, candid, didn't give a damn about who they offended when they spoke or what happened, and he now dead. Whoever it was, Harry, no, Harry didn't want to tell who it was. Remember in the interview, he didn't want to say who it was. Now, listen, y'all. Everybody know in a family fighting, ain't gotta be husband and wife get to fighting, they get mad. What the first thing they do? Tell all their business, right? Oh, you this, that, and other. Yeah, I put it all out there, right? Now he had enough decorum to know. All right, don't go but so far, because it was obviously somebody more powerful than himself. Okay. I'm just throwing this out because you have to connect this stuff back to Yahweh's word. It's more than Israel just saying they're Israel and dressing and walking and arguing over whether it's Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahawashi. We got all this confusion going on. Meanwhile, the enemy closing the gate on us. And like two gazelles out in the wilderness fighting each other, neither one see the lion coming to the attack. Again, I've said it and I'm going to say, I ain't heard no Hebrews preaching it like this. I ain't heard none of them calling out that British Empire for that fake and phony king and queenship. It's phony. And it has to be brought down. And it will in Yahweh's time. But in the meantime, we ain't paying attention. England with all its power is, I wrote the note, quietly waiting. While we as a people busy talking foolishly, the world's talking about a vaccine passport, and the U.S. Federal Reserve is waiting to unveil its own digital currency. For sake of the nosy ones, I'm gonna read it again, and I ain't gonna tell them where I'm reading from. Since they so smart, let them go find this. And y'all don't mind me. I'm having a little fun with them. Because, see, they pride themselves on knowing more than me. For what? The knowledge is in Yahshua. So when I say it, they're running steal the research and get out in front of people, pretend like they got so much knowledge, but they won't even give credit as to where they got it. I got this from white folks, and y'all would let me to go get it. Okay? So I spent an hour in Barnes & Noble looking, picking, choosing very carefully. Bill ran up to $200.14. And I said to the lady, oh, that's too much. Put it all back. She looked at my reading list and she says to me, the sister know me, now brother, come on, quit playing. I know by your reading style and your tactics, you ain't trying to hardly put none of this back. This is interesting reading. What, you want me to buy all this myself?
Wow.
I pushed the card in. See, they getting to the point, you ain't going to be able to buy or sell unless you got the mark. I went in the Royal Farm and had a pocket full of cash. Couldn't even put a $20 bill in the machine. Wouldn't take the cash. So, hey, let's go to this magazine. I'm going to tease these folks. Yeah, page 30. They got to go figure. They're going to have to go buy every magazine in the store and flip to page 30. And then they say, got him. Central bankers are looking at virtual currencies that could work without the bank. The world is about to get an early glimpse at the Federal Reserve's work on a new digital currency. Wall Street is not thrilled. This is white on white violence again. There's a fight going on. Banks, credit card companies, and digital payment processors are carefully watching the push to create an electronic alternative to paper bills Americans carry in their wallets. Some call it the digital dollar. Others call it a Fed coin. As of July, researchers at the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which have been developing prototypes, plan to unveil their work, says James Cunha, which leads the project for the Boston Fed. A digital currency could fundamentally change the way Americans use money, leading some financial companies to lobby the Fed and Congress to slow its creation, or at least ensure that they're not cut out. Isn't that amazing? They don't want it to come just yet. In case you're not understanding it, that's a reprieve for you and I right now. So sometimes Yahweh slows a thing down to give Israel the opportunity to get themselves together. Hallelujah. This is why I keep saying about white on white violence. Sometimes other white folks know what it is. And they like, hey, you ain't going to enslave me. And they fight back. Let them fight. Yahweh, please, ready Israel. Everyone is afraid. No, pardon me. A digital currency could fundamentally change the way Americans use money, leading some financial companies to lobby the Fed and Congress to slow its creation. Everyone is afraid that you could disrupt all the incumbent players with a whole new form of payment. The bank's main trade group has told Congress a digital dollar is not needed, while payment companies such as Visa, MasterCard said are trying to work with central banks to make sure any new currencies can be used on their networks. A U.S. virtual currency could still be years away. Okay. And it's unclear how a digital dollar would interact with existing global payments network. See, all the world is online with it. America's moving slow. You better thank Yahweh right now. Because if they're talking about a vaccine passport that's going to allow you to get in, and some stores are saying, if you ain't got the vaccine passport, you can't come in my store and buy nothing. That's the slow-mo version of not being able to buy or sell unless you got the mark. Next thing, all you got to do is tie it in to all your medical records, tie it into your banking, tie it into your driver's license, tie it into home ownership or property or anything else. All you got to do is figure out a way to link everything together, and you got it. Cashless society, here we come. Are y'all hearing how close we are? So this ain't nothing to play with. While we sitting up arguing over how to say the name of Yahweh, instead of praying, asking Yahweh to reveal it to all of us. He did say, who is blind but my servant, or deaf but my messenger that I sent. So if I'm wrong, and I'm looking at all this, then let all our Hebrew Israelite brothers that's in the club, that's toasting up, that's drinking, that's smoking the weed, if I'm wrong for begging Yahweh to teach it to me so that I might deliver it to you, and I'm still wrong, now the burden of proof is therefore on them. Then we all need to quit the Shabbat and go clubbing. See, which means we are 10 hours late. Because we should have went clubbing last night at about 11:30 when the club got out about 2:30. We should have just been in the club. Am I making sense? This gets worse. Still, the U.S. and other countries seem committed enough to digitize their currencies, and that's making financial industry executives nervous. The fire has been lit. The world is moving very quickly on these projects. The growing popularity of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies whose market value has grown to more than $1 trillion inspired these projects. Unlike those privately created tokens, the new currencies will be issued by central banks as an alternative to paper bills. Cash wouldn't go away, but its use would be likely to decline. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to skip the rest of this article because I want to get to the closing point of the article. Advocates of existing cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have mixed feelings about the Fed muscling in on the industry. Jerry Brito, who leads Coin Center, a cryptocurrency advocacy group, raises privacy concerns and said that if FedCoin would compete with Bitcoin as a digital means of exchange. But he says it could also acclimate Americans to the idea of purchasing digital money. The bottom line, digital money will replace cash for many uses and potentially make it easier for low-income people to access the financial system. There's the trap. Make it easy for the people that have never participated. The Bahamas launched a digital currency called the Sand Dollar in 2020. The Bahamas, Sand Dollar. Now, what do they call the Iraqis? Isn't that amazing? Sand niggas with the sand dollar. Now, I'm not dissing us and calling us niggas. I'm just telling you how they still feel about us in the 21st century. Now you got the sand dollar. Brazil expecting digital real to enter circulation in 2022. How far away is that? Less than a year. China is testing the digital yuan in major cities with the goal of wider distribution in 2022. The Eurozone is researching a potential digital euro. Sweden recently extended a test of its e-krona. Now imagine that. You got money called e-krona in an era of corona. So I get the virus and the money mixed up. What do you want, the money or the virus? Anyway. Oh, man. Poor little children of Israel. They go on and they tell you things like a vaccine. Let's hold this up. Golden ticket. Get the vaccine, you can move around. You can be free to do the stuff you want to do. They play with you, okay? If you ain't got the vaccine, you can't go to the Musée d'Orsay. coming in October 2021. You're looking as if to say, well, what in the world is the Musée du Louvre? Y'all don't know? Good. You won't be able to get in the Staples Center November the 21st. November 15th, 2021. Anybody ever been to Staples Center? What was the last big event happening at the Staples Center that you can remember in news? Kobe and Nipsey Hussle's funeral, right? Staples Center. Coachella, coming May 30th, 2021. Eiffel Tower, won't be able to get in it after November 14th, 2021. Sydney Opera House, May 7th, 2021. Carnival, September 13th, 2021. See how they naming all this stuff that our people like to go check it. Disneyland, August 28th, 2021. They ain't playing, mother. Egypt. And they got in there that had the Sphinx on the cover. October 12th, 2021. Now, I wonder all them Afrocentrics that always making all them trips to Egypt, looking at Tutmos and Tut and all this stuff. What y'all gonna do now? No more trips to Egypt. I guess you're gonna have to go virtual. Call an Egyptian and say, look, man, go down there in front of the Great Pyramid and go live. That's the best they're gonna do. Do a Zoom conference from Egypt, right? Be doing a Zoom conference, you looking at them on the screen, and all of a sudden all the sand and dust done blue in your eyes. That's the best experience you're gonna get out of them. So again, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm holding the information back for a reason. Because if they're gonna steal it and go off and talk big, they could get you destroyed because they pretending they got it. Like y'all revealing it to them. You just repeating what you heard somebody else say. So rather than go repeat what I say, go pray about it. Ask Yahweh to lock it in your mind because see, it's going to be some stuff you're going to have to know, but you're going to just have to shut up and quietly navigate the global system as it begins to emerge. Nobody has to announce, we do not have the ball. We serve Yahweh over here. Boop. And you wake up mocked. You hear me? So some stuff is now the time. Scripture says that it is an evil time. Therefore, the prudent shall keep silent. When the slaves were trying to get away from some of the slave masters, this is one of the saddest parts of our history as being enslaved. Along those trails, sometimes in the midnight hours, they had to silence babies. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, they had to put their hand over the mouth of some children who were crying in the night. Who slave hunters were out there looking for them. And everybody had to be still and be quiet. Sometimes they were down in the water and they had to silence babies. But when they removed their hand from the mouth, the child never made another sound again. Those were the type of things we've had to go through. Are you hearing me? It's not anywhere in Torah where you eat one another. But times and the pressure hit Israel so hard, Scripture says that they ate their children in the siege. Who, as a slave out there with his jeans cut off up to his leg, frazzled, frizzled, no shoes, no shirt, no nothing. Why he out there in the woods like that? He trying to be the great leader, trying to be the king of research. Where he pulling his research? He downloading it from a tree? They were all on equal footing. They were afraid for their lives, trying to escape. We are enslaved in the 21st century, and we got more brothers pretending to be prophets, pretending to be messengers. Will not shut the hell up long enough to get a real revelation from Yahweh, because sometimes Yahweh's people have to escape by the mere simplicity of their silence. You see what I'm saying? That's why I had to get on the people on the channel. You typing and teaching and putting up more scriptures than I can give. And I'm standing right here teaching. Maybe y'all didn't direct me to go that way to put that up. But you back teaching. And see, when you chastise or rebuke back teachers, they take offense to it. Whereas you're saying, while you back teaching, you might have missed something. While you running your mouth, you may have missed the point that had to get across to you. So calm down. Sometimes it pays to listen. You hear what I'm saying, Yisrael? The royal family over there, man, they ain't playing, man. They coming off, man, like they have never before have garnered the world. They're talking about a future. Listen to them. This is Wired Magazine. I'm going to show them this one. Because they walked in Barnes & Noble, they'll see the cover, and they'll go get this. Now, next week, watch all the experts that pop up Watch him, y'all. They're going to know all about Bill Gates' life, how many warts he got on his face, how many pimples on his butt cheek. Oh, they're going to know all of that now. Right? Speaking of knowing private details, see, check this out. Did you all know that the royals don't sleep in the same bed? See, you got to understand certain stuff. They don't sleep in the same beds at night. They can only procreate or have their children in the daytime. Where they get that from? But anyway, yeah. I'm just telling y'all stuff I learned. I can back up what I'm saying. I'm throwing this out for the experts that are the behind the scenes experts that got all this stuff they pulled off the internet. See, they say they're royalty. You should get a good night's sleep. No one should be disturbed by the snoring of a mate or be disturbed by a kick in the night or a snatching of the covers. So they all are demanded. It is a command that they sleep separate beds. So you say, well, how do they procreate? They in the daytime. Y'all saying, how do John? I've been looking at them for the last 30 years. Because when Yahweh really revealed to me, this is the primary problem. When I really started understanding, hey, they waiting on the right opportunity to give all these orders and all these commands. Unless you understand what a duke does and how a prince, they don't even name him as a duke till they get married. But Charles was given the title of a duke at 4. Because so many different titles were bestowed upon him over the years that when he does take king, all the world gonna bow down and accept what they done. Why did this man get knighted? He ain't American. Remember when Bill Gates got knighted? Y'all remember? Well, Bill Gates got knighted by the Queen. Go Google it. That way you all say, yeah, it's true. Google got it. Remember when Alan Greenspan got knighted? See, you all don't understand. When the Queen knights somebody, this is a soldier. This is somebody that has done something. And you recognize that what they've done in their fight to control the world, this is a good soldier. So he's been knighted. They take the sword and boop, boop, go both shoulders. You know, sometimes you wish their arm get weak and Parkinson shut in and boop, you know. Sometimes you be a little better off, but again, y'all, we gotta wait. The future of food. This is not about feeding the people of the world out of love and human concern. This is about getting absolute control over. And they're talking about food now where they'll be growing fish in a lab. Not like a fish farm in the water, but growing fish in a petri dish and putting it in the market for you and I to eat. Are you understanding? Growing plants and food that don't come up in the dirt. But you engineered it in the way where it grows up in the petri dish. This is the type of stuff that they're talking about. Vertical farms to the next generation of agriculture. Seawater irrigation. The end of cows that birth. And harvesting microbial protein. We will explore how we'll be eating in the near future. So now it's vertical farms sitting in supermarkets and restaurants all over Europe. But can it move from salad garnishes for the wealthy to providing healthy produce for the urban masses? You think they sitting around playing with you? You think they want to grow you food? See, this is why I can't understand how the Hebrews are all arguing about what they eating and all of this other stuff. These people got control over everything. Why you think now you're growing foods and different things and you getting plants from them, but you got to go back and buy the seeds every year because you have neutralized all the food so that now it can't even reproduce itself. You bringing up stuff with no seeds in it when y'all would give us the law, a seed. Now you're going to protect the hog down in Israel. He's a protected species. But you're going to change the DNA and the genetic makeup of a cow, which Yahweh's people can eat. Now, some groups, they praise the cow. Other nations, they done stole that from you. Didn't you come up out of Egypt? What'd you do? You made the golden calf, right? These are your gods. This is what brought you up out of Egypt. A calf ain't even a full-grown cow, is it? Pay attention to how stupid man has become in trying to defy Yahweh. So we sitting up here suffering and dying. Bill Gates coming up with a plan. You got to hear this, man. Now somebody start bragging about how they gonna do you or whatever it is, man. After a while, it's Page 66 for the wannabe researchers. Y'all know me. I go at them. I got to go at them every chance I get because they be going at me hot and heavy. All I got to do is say something for y'all's people, and I get 411 disputers on one post. What I say, page 66, man, they put it in there so small you can't even know what page you on. Now, look at this man picture. Do this man look like your friend? Just the very grin alone, right? This is his plan for the world. You got to hear this. How to avoid climate disaster. In his new book, which I did buy, Bill Gates argued that there are really only 2 data points that matter when it comes to tackling humanity's essential challenge. What are the 2 data points? 51 billion and 0. What that mean? It's an insult. He says only 2 things that matter when it comes to tackling humankind's existential challenge. 51 billion and 0. What does it mean? I'm Bill Gates. I got $51 billion. You got nothing. Maybe that ain't hit y'all yet. I got $51 billion. I can do what I want to do. You with $10,000 is equivalent of 0 in comparison to me. You with 100,000, it's equivalent to 0 in comparison to me. And I got the authority of the queen to go do what I want to do. See, it ain't even about them. Remember how the scripture says that the kings of the earth, the rich men, they gathered together against the Messiah. It says 10 of them have one mind, and they all agree to put their power and strength together and support, throw all their weight behind the beast. Revelations 13 says, and I saw the beast gathered together and his army on the horse to make war against the one that's coming that sat on the horse. Israel, sadly enough, I see how when it all goes down, how a lot of the children of Israel are going to be caught both off guard and up in it. You hear me? Young brother on social media, my son went to school with him. He just makes me so sick. I post spiritual things and I put the stuff out there. A lot of people understand the direction I'm going when I teach what I teach. He's so into the world and so big into world technology. He always got a smart aleck comment to make because he only sees it through technology. If we just learn the technology, if we just get on board. See, you ain't nobody need to be listening to. We have to run from the devil's technology. We got to run to Yahweh. And Yahweh going to bring this thing back to the Ancient of Days. A day in which, hey man, it was the world was far more healthy when they was running from country to country on the back of a horse than it is now. We run on the back of a cat. Jaguar. Cherokee. An Impala. See how they name all of the vehicles after animals that they ain't even, come on man, you overtook the spirit of the animal. Am I making any sense? So yet all those animals that did them things, you're trying to control them. Listen, did y'all hear the news about Elon Musk and his little company? Did you hear what they said? Elon Musk said, sadly enough, but yet he rejoices because it's billions in his pocket. They said, yes, we do have the genetic material and the capability to create our own real live Jurassic Park. Now, I told y'all they had the ability to do it if they chose to do it. That was just in it. Just Google it. A lot of people like to research. You like to go Google it, see what they're saying. He's a company. He's invested in other things. He makes Tesla cars and all this other stuff. He's got billions. He's the owner of SpaceX that sends rockets to Mars and all this other stuff. He told them people, he's famous for one statement. He told them, if you do this, remember, you are summoning the demon. But yet he's still, with all his money, tinkling around in it. The only thing he said that I like, he said, I ain't taking no vaccine. I ain't going for that. Yeah. But what that mean if you're still working for the beast? Right. So they said they have the potential to do it. They've studied enough of that stuff so well they can get all the genetic material, do anything they want to do. Well, Israel, in case you ain't checked it, in the scriptures, in the book of Revelations, it starts talking about specific beasts and things in the earth of gigantic size and or proportion. This is where the sermon takes that veer to the left. People are like, oh, you lost me on that, Elder. Well, just stick around a little while. Pray that you don't die. You won't be able to fight off and determine whether or not it's a swarm of bees or a swarm of drones. They're telling stories about how it will be impossible for people to fight off a swarm of drones coming at them with the weaponry and the technology we have. They are saying this. This stuff is public information. Brothers and sisters, they be sending me stuff. I get so many things sent to me throughout the course of the week. And I'm going to be honest with you all. You can send it all you want. But your research ain't Yahweh's research. And a lot of it, I don't have time to look at it. Because I'm only looking at what Yahweh has allowed me to go see. Y'all online all day, every day, and still can't find salvation. You can't find salvation through Google. You ain't going to find salvation on the internet. You ain't going to hear about Yahweh unless somebody preach him. That's why he raised up men of the priesthood. That's why he gave authority to even set up men, make elders and teachers, teach them, but ready them. He don't send them out premature. You don't send a man out there in the infantry. What's the lowest rank in the military? Private. That's the lowest rank? You don't send him out there. He giving orders. He coming in, busting the office and generals in there. All right, general, I'm here. I got it. I just finished my 6 week or 6 months. I just finished basic training. I'm here. I got it. Go on, do what you do. I got this. It doesn't make any sense. Now, does it? So Yahweh, like the apostle said there when we read earlier, he told the brother, for this cause I left you in Crete. You've been taught well enough. Now I'm teaching you how to set it up. The poor little British crown, the royal family, and all the stuff that they into, them little people over there fighting for their life. And Israel, with all his mouth, they don't even know and understand the severity of it. And what is the severity of it? This stuff coming down on us. They coming to get us. And we ain't even paying no attention. Now y'all see why I put are the flags up back there? Did I put them up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On both the calendars, if you notice, I put 4 red flags because I pinpointed the 4 world's empires on both calendars so that you see what Daniel was talking about that came up against the children of Israel. But the 5th one, I just put it in blue. That's all the way out there, England, London, the city. That's what they call it, the city. All the stuff you see in the world, city, C-I-T-I, that's a code. Citibank, city this, city that. That's a code for it. Look, this one here is ours. This belongs to the crown. And the crown giving this basic order just like you got 1600 or 1601 Pennsylvania Avenue over there. What's the address for the fake leadership in Britain?
10 Downing.
Bingo. Boy, you all right. 10 Downing Street. The black door. Now why the door gotta be black? Just want y'all to understand some stuff going down. They, like Trump, Boris Johnson don't run nothing. Now remember, I told y'all this pattern to understand. America and Britain work hand in hand. And every time they elect somebody, with the exception of Obama, they make sure they look alike. John Major and Bill Clinton looked alike. You hear what I'm saying? And if they don't look alike, they function alike. They are male and female counterparts sometimes. Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan were the right and left arm of the same beast. You hear what I'm saying? Boris Johnson looked good and crazy with his hairdo, now don't he? Didn't Donald Trump look good and crazy with his hairdo, now didn't he? Both of them was bucking, putting crazy policies in place, but they was in the slot, now weren't they? Both of them got hit with the virus, now didn't they? Pay attention to the pattern, because what they do over there, they do right here. And we missing out on all of it. America's helping bring it all to the threshold, to the door, so that they pave the way for the beast. And here we, the poor little children of Israel, ain't catching it. The ability to both teach and encourage us as a people is really being wiped away because of our refusal to acknowledge Yahweh. Did you hear what I said? The ability to encourage us and the ability to teach us is based on our refusal to acknowledge Yahweh. Closing scripture. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah chapter 3. We all need to hear this. Jeremiah 3 verse 11. And Yahweh said unto me, the backsliding Israel have justified herself more than treacherous Yahudah. Can you imagine somebody being wrong? That's like the husband catching the wife cheating. And he get on her case about it. And she tell him, well, yeah, it's your fault. I wouldn't have never cheated if you'd whatever. Fill in the blank. Okay? She justified it. Or the husband, he blamed the wife. Well, you paid more attention to me. I would have never hooked up with her anyway. Everybody got to blame somebody. So now Yahweh told Jeremiah, we justified ourselves more than our sister that had sinned too. Go and proclaim these words toward the north. Now look what Yahweh said. Toward the north. And say, return, you backsliding Israel, said Yahweh, and I will not cause mine anger to fall upon you, for I am merciful, said Yahweh, and I will not keep anger forever. Now, you ever notice how the Jewish community, the white civilization, Catholic Church and all that, you ever notice how they never talk about no sin or no wrongdoing that they do? They're always right, no matter what it is. They use scriptures like this because it says, go and proclaim these words toward the north. They know they're the north country. But now, they take scriptures like this and say, this is them. This justifies them. So they say. Only acknowledge thine iniquity, that thou hast transgressed against Yahweh your Elohim, and hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree. And you have not obeyed my voice, saith Yahweh. If they were the chosen people, they would have to admit their sin. They never admit anything. Right? We don't want to admit. We just want to go claiming to be Israel, but yet we don't have to obey. We have to fall in line with Yahweh's word. Turn, O backsliding children, saith Yahweh. Why? For I am married unto you, and I will take you, one of a city, and two of a family, and bring you to my castle. Not Edinburgh or Edinburgh. How y'all say it again?
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh? All right. I know, so I was wrong. My bad. Edinburgh. And I will give you pastors. According to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. That can't possibly be everybody. It can't possibly. Somebody got to understand this. And at some point in time, somebody in Yahweh going to step out on the world stage and speak up to them and speak out against them. And they ain't worried about losing their lives. How are we going to do that as Israel when we're promoting the club? How are we going to do that when we smoking more weed than you can get here with? How are we going to do that? We got babies all over the planet. Ain't acknowledged none. I've never repented for a single sin. We ain't done none of this. But yet we are his people and we keep backsliding. Come on, man. We got to get it together. Right or wrong? Can I accuse you of alcoholism and I'm drinking? In fact, I'm sitting here drunk now. Can I accuse you of alcoholism if I'm sitting here drunk now? Can I accuse you of being a wine bibber and a smoker and I'm smelling like every cigarette? I'm the Marlboro man. I can't do it. So we got to be clean. And it shall come to pass, when you multiplied and increased in the land in those days, saith Yahweh, they shall no more say the ark of the covenant of Yahweh. Neither shall they come into mind, neither shall they remember it. Neither shall they visit it. Neither shall that be done anymore. At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of Yahweh. And all the nations shall be gathered unto it. To the name of Yahweh, to Jerusalem. Neither shall they walk any more after the imagination of their evil heart. It's wrong when our brothers out there clubbing and running all over the women and ain't taking care of the children and doing all the stuff. This is their evil imagination of their way. Yahweh said, you ain't gonna keep on doing that to me, right? Verse 18. In those days, the house of Yahudah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together, listen, out of the land of the north. Now look, them people living up in the north, they waiting on the right moment to take it. They saying scriptures like this describes them. But when you start talking about the captivity, the ill treatment, all the wicked things that are done, they ain't bringing it up. They ain't got nothing to say. Just claiming all the good stuff for themselves. You hear me? That's like a parent that's going to feed their children, but they give their children scraps and they come in and eat all the good stuff. It's wrong. You sitting there eating, your children smacking lips wondering, when we going to eat? You eat as soon as I throw your bone. Sit down and be quiet. Then that's wrong, ain't it? Come on, y'all. Let's watch this George Floyd trial. Tell you why. Now, the most damning testimony was the other day with the little doctor. I like the little doctor. I like one thing he said. The little line attorney says, now, wouldn't you agree? See, when a person asks you a question like that, you got to always reject it. Shut them up before they finish the sentence. Whenever a person says to you, wouldn't you agree? They give them a lie. Because they're trying to make you agree to something. So he says, now, wouldn't you agree that your science is actually a matter of opinion? The man said, no, it is not a matter of opinion. It is based on careful calculations And he spoke in a way so as to leave no ambiguity floating nowhere in the air. He spoke with categorical precision, and he even gave the precise moment from the tape when George Floyd, as we say about Yahshua, gave up the Ruach. He gave the precise moment. He took it, he broke it down categorically based on weight. He demonstrated. Now your knee is on the man's neck, and you got one foot up off the ground with precision. Showed it all. With one foot off the ground and your knee on it, that meant full body weight on the man's neck. He testified, broke all that down. If they let that man go, pray that y'all would blow the damn thing up. Because you going too far. You got the story. You keep talking about all the Asian hate and all this other stuff going on. Ain't nobody attacking no Asians. And every Asian, if you on this channel and you going along with that, you a damn liar too. If we attacking you like that, you would have never put your stores in our community. To hell with you. We ain't safe nowhere in this country. We as black folk don't even want to let our children outside to play no more. Not because we just afraid Boo Boo and Pookie gonna shoot them and kill them in the crossfire. But at 8 and 10 years of age, your police will follow them home when they got iced tea and Skittles in their hand, shoot them down, and go and laugh and brag and sign bags of Skittles. Damn you. So don't come to me with now somebody doing Asian hate. You all will not condemn yourself. Why don't you say the former president, if there is Asian hate, he sicked all the white supremacists on the Asians by calling it the China flu. Why y'all don't take accountability for that? But you see, don't nobody want to talk about it. So George Floyd get blamed because you say he had drugs in his system and everything. But yet even the experts say wasn't enough of that in his system to kill him. So don't come with that. And see, police wonder why people really want to just take it to them a lot of times. Because you're playing on a wicked team. It ain't got nothing to do with you having a good heart now. People are looking at it as an American team, and it is a wicked team. America's wickedness is global policy. Let's be clear on that. And they coming after you, whether you like it or not. So we as Hebrews can keep smoking weed and drinking and hanging out in the club, hanging out with half-naked women, not teaching our children, all of the stuff that violates the Torah. We can keep on with that if we want to. Yahweh say he's going to pay every one of us for it. So I would rather stand, if I have to be beat with few stripes for telling the truth in Yahshua, than to be beat with many for standing in line to you. Do you hear me? I thank many of you for your calls, for your letters, your emails, for donations of offerings and whatsoever it is, because you really help us. We send the material out as best we can, sometimes Torahs and different things. You, the people of Yahweh, have helped us to do it. We have nothing to gain. There are no mansions to buy. There are no diamonds to own. There are no Maseratis to acquire. None of that. We are all after the kingdom of Yahweh. All the resources have to go back out to Yahweh's name to further uplift the name of Yahweh and his son Yahshua. We can't do this without each other. Yisrael, I'm going to cut this short right here. One of these days, I'm going to do a double service again on the Shabbat. Pick back up on these things and teach some things that Yahweh's people really need to know. The conclusion of today's message, to really tie all this back in with prophecy, is real simple. Whatever's coming down on the face of this earth from one end to the other, no matter how small or how great, it's all coming down because of sin. And it ain't going to stop until Yahshua stops it. That's the part about man that don't nobody want to hear. This is why even the world, they would prefer that the original man that Yah said is going to command this earth, they don't want him to rule it. What I like most about it is the fact that he's got all power. He ain't got to hide it and remain mysterious, and they got to go and research it and dig it up, try to shine a flashlight on his power. He rose and he said, all power in heaven and in earth is given in mine hand. Ain't no amount of crowns, ain't no amount of dukes, dookies, whatever they be. Ain't nothing y'all got gonna stop him. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yisrael. Let's go eat. Consider yourselves dismissed. Praise Yahweh. Hallelujah.